I hope I don't get demonetized for that one, but yeah, that's how we're feeling now. WrestleMania 22, big time in a 15,000 seat arena. It's not in a stadium
Yeah.
yet.
How weird did it feel 20, 21, and 22 just being in arenas? Well, this is the last WrestleMania where there will be in a regular arena. From here on out, it's stadiums.
Yep.
Ford Field. I forgot what the stadium in Orlando is called.
The Citrus Bowl.
Thank you.
The Citrus Bowl.
I had something to do with that. Was if AT&T Stadium wasn't a thing yet, it was the Astrodome for 25. The stadium where the Cardinals play in 26. It's going to be all stadiums from here on out. But regardless of that, not only do I have a lot of memories with this WrestleMania, they still made WrestleMania feel so big, pun intended, with the Allstate Arena. And that is a crazy statement to make. This is the first time WrestleMania has been back to Chicago since three? Or two.
Yeah, since WrestleMania 13, actually.
13
in the same building with Bret Hart and Stone Cold in that excellent submission match. Same building here. Oddly enough, it's not big time in the. They could have used the United Center where the Blackhawks play, where the Democratic National Convention is going on as we speak. That's a huge arena, but it's
Oh wait, you said Democrat. I'm sorry. Anywho,
I said Democrat.
We're here to talk about WrestleMania, and I have a lot of memories with this WrestleMania. Number one, because I watched it live like I do every WrestleMania. But number two, this was the very first WrestleMania I owned on DVD. And I didn't just own the DVD, I owned the beautiful 3-disc box set. When you opened up the flaps, you got cool pictures on the side. It was 3 discs. It was WrestleMania. It was the Hall of Fame ceremony. There was an added bonus of Saturday night's main event on the 3rd disc. There were interviews with the superstars, backstage features. Such a cool time. And I will say this again. I feel bad for every young wrestling fan out there right now that isn't going to experience the pleasure of owning these amazing DVD box sets that WWE had. We could spend a whole podcast talking about the DVDs that we used to own.
Yeah.
But this was so cool. I would literally just lay in my room when I wasn't watching the show and just open up the box and just admire the beautiful craftsmanship they put into these DVD sets.
Here, keep talking. Keep talking to the people about the DVD. I got to show them something.
Oh,
yeah, keep talking.
It was just a grand time, and every WrestleMania after that, minus 23 for some reason. I remember just seeing 23 in a display at Walmart and just saying, "Can I buy that?" Not even realizing it wasn't the 3-disc set. But it was just so cool. I have 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. I think I stopped at 30. Once the WWE Network became a thing, I stopped collecting the DVD box sets, but I think I still have them somewhere. I'm not sure.
I got mine.
It was just that beauty right there. Just looking at that brings back memories.
Yeah, no, just opening it up and you see big fat fucking spoiler right here. What we're going to be talking about. That was before the dawning of spoiler covers in the early 2010s and collecting DVDs. But again, I don't collect them anymore either. I'm selling them now because I got to pay rent.
It would take 30 days for WWE to put out these box sets, and I was just so excited to own one every single time. And you talk about spoilers when we live in a day and age where Deadpool and Wolverine has been out for a couple weeks now. I sure hope you saw the movie because they are showing major spoilers in the promotional material now. So
yes, they are. Yes, they are.
I really hope you did because there is just such a majestic feeling of not knowing what's coming to you, and your patience is rewarded.
Yeah, well, I've seen Deadpool and Wolverine 3 times now, so you don't have to worry about it. But anyway, WrestleMania 22 is a very solid show. I wouldn't say that this is better than 21. There's definitely some stinkers on this card as opposed to the previous year where you didn't really feel like you had a bad match on the card aside from a fucking sumo match. But everything,
Here's the thing. I was going to say, I know this WrestleMania way too well because, like I said, I own the DVD set and I would watch this thing at least once a week.
There you go.
I would memorize spots. I would memorize lines from the commentators. But there's 2 things that go into this, why this is a great WrestleMania, but not the perfect WrestleMania. Number one, this is a bloated card. We are talking 12 matches counting the pre-show. And again, we are about to enter this part of 2006 where it's just a very weird time for WWE. They are trying to maintain relevancy, I would say. I wouldn't say this is probably the era where just interest was very down, and
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is just trying everything to recapture the Attitude Era. Some places he does succeed, but there's other places where it's like it goes from being edgy and cool to watch this shit. It's just straight up immature. It's immature and weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's going to be a recurring theme, especially when DX is put back into the picture and you start to get those Easter eggs in WrestleMania 22 here. But like you said, Chicago, Illinois, Allstate Arena, not the United Center for some reason. You have the all across the arena concourse. I vividly remember when the pay-per-view goes live and I see banners of every single wrestler on the roster like lined up like atop the building, and I'm like, I've never seen that before. That is how you make a small arena feel gigantic.
Yeah, I like that, but at the same time, there were wrestlers featured on there that weren't even wrestling that night, and I would have much preferred this setup if if it was the match card, because I saw the Money in the Bank ladder match, they got that one right, but then there's just Carlito, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, Vince McMahon, and it's like, okay, now you're just putting wrestling. If they would have like
it's a random order
thing, yeah, I think they started doing this in 31, the WrestleMania that we're at. What I love what they do with stadiums now, anytime like on the scoreboard, for example, they will put, this is the match that's going on right now. They even did it last year with 21 with the Hollywood theme. They would say, now showing Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, now showing the Money in the Bank ladder match, now showing versus Randy Orton. It's, I wish they would have just stuck with that theme, but here I am complaining about WrestleMania from 2006.
Cool entrance stage with the skyscrapers as well. But Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child sings America the Beautiful, and we have to also welcome back good old JR as the play-by-play guy for WrestleMania here. Say goodbye to Joey Styles. It's been nice knowing you, buddy. JR is back as a play-by-play guy with Jerry Lawler.
We will talk about Joey Styles' role next time on Backlash. We will definitely go into that. Me and Zach have gone to extensive discussions about this, and Joey Styles basically stood up for what he believed in, but let's just say he shouldn't have used the platform he did to do so. Again, more on that later, but Joey Styles is on that show, and we'll save where he goes to. But we are going to open up this WrestleMania in a big way, considering who is defending their tag team titles.
Yes, the Big Show and Kane, a big-ass team. I think that should have been their team name. Going up against the very young Carlito and Chris Masters. Carlito is the first guy to walk out of the curtain for WrestleMania. It's his Mania debut. For some reason, he decides to take a bump on the way to the ring.
He does. He must have been excited because he walks down the ring, he's doing his taunts, and then he just falls. And then he does a roll on the stage. I'm like, this guy, I always looked at that and just thought he's excited for his match. Basically the story here is it's the huge gargantuan team of Big Show and Kane versus the brains of Carlito and the brawn of Chris Masters. And this match, this had potential to be a solid opener, and it just wasn't for a couple of reasons. The biggest reason is Carlito and Masters just get their ass kicked for like 95% of this match. This is a wash. This was almost bad. This match goes for almost 7 minutes, and it almost feels as bad as WrestleMania 30, The Shield versus the New Age Outlaws and Kane. Carlito and Masters get barely offense in this match, and it's almost all Big Show and Kane. And every time Carlito and Masters get on, the offense, it's just like it's slapstick. It's like, oh, they missed their cue, they hit each other, and then they knock each other out of the ring. And it's like you see a couple of moments of Carlito's cunning coming into this, and you see some like a glimmer of good teamwork between Carlito and Masters. I understand where this is leading to, and we'll talk about that at Backlash. But it's just very strange that, I would have liked to see a little more Masters and Carlito outsmarting Big Show and Kane, like Carlito doing something cunning, really bending the rules, and Masters capitalizing with his strength. And it just, it just felt very bland as a result.
Yeah. I mean, it's also hard if you're heel tandem in a tag team match, especially a tag team opener. It's especially hard if your heels are the smaller guys and you're trying to get heat on two giants. because they were trying to get the heat on the Big Red Machine. Like, Chris Masters locked in the full Lashley on Kane at one point, and, you know, Big Show also, you know, Big Show went in and saved him. You know, it was pretty unbelievable in a sense.
You know, considering the workhorse Kane is about to become in this part of his career, I could totally see Masters and Carlito getting the heat on Kane for a little bit. And I know these guys didn't have a lot of time to work with for this opening match. Also, when the Big Show and Kane come out to the ring, Jerry Lawler like pops over the fact that the skyscrapers are on fire.
Yeah, like third year in a row, the Kane's entrance, like, you know, the whole LED screen, Mania 20, like Times Square is all up in flames. WrestleMania 21, Money in the Bank ladder match, the ladders are on fire. And now here in Chicago, you know, the skyscrapers are on fire, which, you know, 2006 around this point
Masters
is a little odd.
Do get the upper hand, like I say, in a fun way that I would like to see. While Masters is distracting the referee, Carlito hits Kane with a drop kick to the knee. Oh, no, other way around. He drop kicks Big Show to the knee, and he falls into the exposed turnbuckle, which, again, I've watched this Mania so many times. You look at it, Big Show's head doesn't even touch the metal ring. He just, like, plays it again. But they go to the replay, and they show that Carlito is removing the turnbuckle pad while the referee's not working. I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted to see more of in this match. But we only get a glimmer of that, and it's just Kane and Big Show dominating 95% of the match.
Yeah, well, did you also notice how over Carlito was with this smart Chicago audience? Like, they were starting to, well, I mean, you can't help but not notice it, man. Carlito,
no, I'm saying, I really didn't. I really didn't notice.
They started chanting Carlito's name at certain points in the match. Like, this Chicago crowd was very appreciative of Carlos Colon's son's work here.
Let's talk about this now, actually, because we're going to get it a few times in this on the show. This was still the era of Vince McMahon didn't like the smart marks. This is when the smart marks started showing up. This was, you know, the wrestling fans that had a mind of their own, and, you know, they weren't, you know, sticking to the script per se. Vince really didn't like the fans booing the faces and cheering the heels. And this is around the time where wrestling fans were like, no, I have a mind of my own. And I don't want to like baby faces shoving in my face. I'm going to boo them. I like the heel that has a better work rate in the ring. This is around the time, you know, TNA was getting really popular. Ring of Honor was starting to hit the map. So there were other alternatives to pro wrestling, and WWE fans were starting to realize, I don't have to eat this shit that Vince is spoon feeding me. I'm going to start voicing my opinion more. And we're going to see a lot of this. And Vince's way of combating this, instead of like accepting it and leaning into it, they do lean into it at one point. It's the birth of the phrase that honestly makes me cringe nowadays. Bizarro world. It's Bizarro land. Everybody's faces are getting booed and the heels are getting cheered. It's Bizarro world. There's something in the water. It's like Vince is insulting the fans' intelligence and saying, like, well, you're a weirdo because you're cheering for the heel.
Well, then again, you say that, and then a month later, Carlito's working babyface against Chris Masters in the opener. So you can't say that Vince wasn't like listening to the fans at some extent. Like, I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, the guy's a fucking whack job, and he deserves to be rotting wherever he is. But like,
oh no, my point is just being like, it was very insulting to the fans' intelligence that Vince just thought the fans were stupid for behaving the way that they were. And it's like, you know, if you can't judge somebody for cheering for the bad guy. You ever watch Scarface? Tony Montana was not a good guy, but you liked him, didn't you? Because he was cool, and he wore cool clothes, and he talked cool, and he had the guns, and you know, you can name a bunch of characters in movies that, like, you're not supposed to like this guy, but you do.
That's why
in The Dark Knight.
That's why I liked Carlito. Like, growing up, like, even as a kid, I was like, this guy's cool. This is one cool cat, no pun intended. But again, you know, the match itself, I totally agree with you. Pretty basic match. It was a nice little appetizer, I guess, for the rest of the card. It only went 7 minutes. Kane and the Big Show retain their tag team titles. Kane chokeslams Carlito for the 3 count after 7 minutes. I'd give this a 1.5 stars. I mean, you know, it was, again, it was pretty by the numbers. It was straight to the point. You know, the heels didn't really get a whole lot of offense in. Carlito and Masters start arguing after the fact. And then, you know, this will set up for Backlash as well. And Big Show and Kane, Big Show and Kane, I'm sure have some good opponents for Backlash, right?
Well, I was just gonna say, I remember at this
no, they don't.
Saying Big Show and Kane are on top of the world right now. They have been retaining the World Tag Team titles. Who can defeat them? They drop the titles the very next night on Raw to the Spirit Squad.
Yep, they lose them to the numbers game. And
I will say, it is very fucking impressive how the Spirit Squad win that match. It is very impressive.
So, man, I need to go back and rewatch it just to see what you're talking about. But Big Show and Kane and Carlito and Chris Masters, they are teammates against one another. These guys would have separate singles matches at Backlash, and each respective team was facing their former partner. I don't think that's ever happened again after that. That's a wild statistic.
We'll get into more of that when we get to our Backlash review. I thought the match was fine, and I will say, despite all my criticisms, when the flow started going, I thought all four of these guys had good chemistry with one another. Yeah. You know, Big Show and Kane are veterans. Carlito and Masters are trying to prove themselves here. So I'm sure they were like, you know, we're only given 7 minutes, but let's go out there and just have a good flow. There were some points in this match where I thought the flow was very good. There was no point in this match where I'm like, I'm bored. Can we get on to the third act? No, they were actually flowing very well together.
Yeah. Also, big congrats to the large performance, Paul White, for his very first WrestleMania victory on this card. He had been winless at WrestleMania at this point, and he finally got a win. Didn't even get the pinfall. It was Kane that did it. So, there you go. Big Show's WrestleMania record, not very good. But now, backstage... You're going to have to remind
me. I was going to say, you have to remind me with backstage segments.
Coach is interviewing Shawn Michaels here, and Coach is still kind of like, he's not as heelish as he was over the past couple of years, but
he's starting to mellow out. He's starting to mellow out.
Definitely starting to calm down. And Shawn Michaels is basically saying, like, as God is my witness here, that's key. As God is my witness, I will send you straight to hell, or something like that.
He says, Vince McMahon, you are going to experience your own personal hell.
That was it. Yeah, and he said,
so fucking good.
He also flat out said, tonight you're not going to get a 5-star quality match out of me. I swear to God. That's what he said. He was...
Well, spoiler alert, even when Shawn Michaels is not trying to have a 5-star match, he has a 5-star match.
We'll touch on that later, but yeah, it's.
I also will say, you think Jonathan Coachman is mellowed out now? Just wait until 2008 when he has taken so many Valiums, so many Xanax. That's a joke, by the way.
Yikes! Easy.
To quote Deadlock, this is ESPN, Coach. He's going to be a complete afterthought in the next year or so. So I hope you enjoyed his heel run, because this fool he's taking a chill pill.
Yes, he has, but oh man, we're not taking our foot off the gas on this WrestleMania. We're not going to take a chill pill anytime soon. What do we got next?
Yeah, we have the 2nd annual Money in the Bank ladder match. Before I introduce the participants, I loved how they reintroduced this. Carlito came out to the ring and said, you know what? The Money in the Bank ladder match was so great last year. Let's do it again, and I want to be in it. Carlito, the man who reintroduced this, doesn't even qualify.
He doesn't even qualify. I think he loses to, like, Ric Flair or something. Like,
yeah.
What? Again, why you would put Ric Flair in a ladder match at 55 years old, I don't know.
This is a motley crew we have for the 2nd annual Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Rob Van Dam, who is on a streak of momentum right now. I think this is the most momentum Van Dam has had in the WWE. Bobby Lashley, Finlay, Matt Hardy, Ric Flair, and the Intercontinental Champion, Shelton Benjamin. What a motley crew of people to have in a ladder match. You have Van Dam, great. Matt Hardy, he basically lives in ladder matches. Shelton Benjamin, who is not getting paid enough and is not being appreciated enough for doing the spots that he does in this match. And then you have Finlay, who I love, but, you know, he just got on the scene. We don't know what he's going to do with ladders. Ric Flair, who was the last person I'd ever expected in a Money in the Bank ladder match. And you have Lashley. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Bobby Lashley, green as grass at this point, and all my best wishes go out to Robert Franklin Lashley right now as he ventures off into uncertain territory right now, no longer with the WWE.
I'm going to quote something that you're going to hate me quoting for.
Oh, God.
Do we love Bobby? Do we love Bobby?
Fuck that. Fuck that noise.
Next year.
Fuck that noise.
All my jokes aside about what the field this Money in the Bank ladder match is, if there is one word to describe this ladder match, it's gnarly. These
This
guys
is
are taking hellacious bumps.
this is a train wreck, man. Like, obviously, I don't think this is as great or as influential as the original Money in the Bank ladder match, but this one I feel like really sold the danger of it. And the fact that these guys are willing to go through the literal danger zone. Where the fuck is Kenny Loggins when I need him? Like, they're going through the Top Gun danger zone to get a title shot that nobody has had in a long time. Like,
so very early in this match, Shelton Benjamin runs up a ladder, springboards off of it, and does a swanton bomb onto the Sea of Superstars. This
oh my
man
God,
is not being appreciated enough. He is killing himself, and he does not have to. This man is a human highlight reel for the Money in the Bank ladder match. We all talked about how he ran up a ladder flawlessly and clotheslined somebody last year.
Clothesline Jericho.
And here he is now doing a springboard somersault off a ladder. This man is absolutely insane. And this happens probably 2 minutes into the match where Matt Hardy and Ric Flair are.
Oh, God.
Ric Flair was something else in 2006. We talked about
his work
rate getting a lot better. We talked about him competing in a TLC match against Edge in January. And here he is in Money in the Bank. And he's fighting Matt Hardy on the top. And this fool takes a superplex off the ladder right on his fucking hip.
No, not even. Like, he lands right on the back that he had broken in 1975 in that plane crash. 31 years prior to this, mind you. And Flair is writhing around going, "Ah, God! Ah! Like only Flair can."
Perfect. But not only was this spot very gnarly, this was a way to right Flair out of most of the match because, even though Flair is a different beast in 2006, he still can't be working a full ladder match. But I think he made up for it by taking this disgusting spot. It was, I don't know. I have a feeling this was Flair's idea.
So,
Flair felt like he probably still needed to prove himself in 06. And you know what?
Good Lord.
It just really goes to show that if Flair would have just rode off into the sunset in 2008, and, he was a manager, he was an agent, he just, enjoyed the fruits of his labors, I think we'd all be looking at him very positively right now. But I don't understand what this need for Flair to continuously prove himself when a lot of people consider him the greatest professional wrestler of all time.
I agree. Has nothing left to prove, even in 2006. And now he's taken superplexes off a ladder from a fellow North Carolinian in Matt Hardy, who I'm sure was trying to be as careful as possible with Ric Flair. As careful as you can be on a crazy spot like that. Flair's taken to the back. Van Dam and Shelton Benjamin get into a bit of a mix-up here. This is a fresh match that we haven't seen yet. Van Dam goes for a rolling. Van Dam does a rolling thunder. He attempts a rolling thunder. Shelton moves out of the way. Van Dam lands back fucking first on the ladder, and I'm sure your dad loved seeing this because I know your dad hates Van Dam. But there you go.
Finlay goes crazy with the shillelagh. Say that 5 times fast. He just goes absolutely nuts, and he thwacks everybody with this shillelagh. I think everybody had a good showing in a good spot in this match, except Lashley.
Yeah, Lashley climbs this ladder, and Shelton Benjamin tries a sunset flip bomb off there. And it was odd because Finlay and Matt Hardy helped Shelton Benjamin hit Lashley with a shield bomb off the ladder. And Lashley was selling it. It was exactly like the Shield does it. So it's a Shield power bomb, my friend.
The Shield, I don't know what. You go back to 2006 and tell that's a Shield bomb. What the fuck is a Shield?
what the fuck is it? What does my health insurance have to do with this?
That's Tyler Black, John Moxley, and Roman Reigns. Like, Tyler Black, that fucking jabroni in Ring of Honor right now. What?
Oh man, so. Fucking nutcase Ric Flair comes charging back down to the ring while everybody's down and out.
Limping to the ring.
Charging as much as he can with a bum knee. And he is climbing the ladder. There's nobody to stop him. And then to your point, Fit Finlay nails Flair right in the dome with the shillelagh, his weapon of choice. And Flair takes another nasty tumble onto the canvas. Finlay...
Give me Flair and Finlay in 94. Let them go for 60 minutes. I would love to see that.
Man, and then what happens next? Bobby Lashley then starts going on a bit of a tear, hits a beautiful looking Dominator on Shelton Benjamin, and then he looks down and says, "Eat him! Eat him!"
Lashley climbs the ladder and he is getting booed. He is
getting
booed.
Big time. Big time. Yeah, that's a nice omen for when he goes over to ECW, isn't it? Nice little omen.
Yeah, you just talked about Lashley leaving the WWE, and you don't know how depressed that makes me because it's crazy when he leaves WWE and he actually becomes a good wrestler. That's why I'm saying if NXT existed around this time, Lashley would have, he would have been the star he truly could have been. But it took going to TNA for this guy to learn how to wrestle.
Yeah. And he really wanted to wrestle Brock Lesnar when he got over there, didn't he? Remember that?
You know what? We talk about Goldberg and Lesnar being one of the worst matches in history. If you would have given us Goldberg and Lashley and Lesnar around this time, you thought their matches in 2022 were bad. This would have been probably a negative 10-star match. Probably.
So Lashley is knocked off by a Terminator by Van Dam with the steel chair, and the crowd is just going apeshit at this point. Matt Hardy hits a top rope leg drop on some bloke, landing right on his tailbone, and he's selling it there. Finlay is trying to stop Matt from climbing the ladder. Matt with a nasty-looking side effect on Fit, and Fit is down on the canvas. RVD sees this leg drop that Matt did from almost the top of the ladder. Van Dam decides to stand right at the tippy top of the ladder, right atop the Sears Tower-like ladder in the middle of the ring, hits the 5-star frog splash on Finlay from the top of the ladder, and the crowd is like, again, they're going crazy at this point. They're loving this Money in the Bank ladder match.
Also, I feel like RVD just never learns his lesson because I remember that ladder match he had with Eddie on Raw, and he tried the same spot and he fell. And also on the Eddie DVD, that match is on there, but it's with commentary from Eddie and RVD. And when they get to that RVD falls, RVD just goes, "Oh no, yeah, it happens. It happens."
Whatever. That spot was still cool. Yeah.
So RVD does that. He's fighting with Benjamin on the ladder, and RVD's flexibility is so amazing. How he's able to just lift his foot up and shove Shelton Benjamin off of the ladder. He retrieves the briefcase, and RVD is the second ever Mr. Money in the Bank. The crowd goes crazy. Like I alluded to at the beginning of this match, this is the most momentum RVD has had ever since he joined the WWE. I thought it was a no-brainer here who was going to win this ladder match.
He's won the whole fucking bank. I was happy. I was happy to see this as a kid.
Yeah, it's a shame WWE is WWE because that would have been such a cool nickname for him, Mr. Money in the effing Bank.
Oh, man, could you imagine? Vince McMahon didn't have the balls to do that.
Could you imagine the t-shirt?
That would have been awesome. That would have been so cool.
Tune in January 2025 when Raw goes to Netflix and Seth Rollins changes his name to Seth fucking Rollins.
I am Cody fucking Rhodes. Anyway.
Are you ready for Monday Night Titties?
Thanks, Dominic. I'm going to go...
How
the fuck do I even rate this match, man?
I'm going to give it 3 3/4 stars. I don't remember. Okay, growing up and seeing the amazing Money in the Bank ladder matches, right? We got next year's is amazing. 24 is great. 25 is great. 26 is great despite the large roster of people that were in it. This one always stood out as the weakest, and I never enjoyed going back to it because there were just so many better Money in the Bank ladder matches.
Yes.
But I'm looking at here, and they took some nasty spots.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated, like you said, the demolition derby that this match was.
Yeah, it was a goddamn train wreck. I'm going to give it 3.5. I mean, I wouldn't say it's one of the best Money in the Bank matches that's out there, but it's certainly one of the more, it's memorable because it's ingrained in my mind because we're reviewing the show, obviously, but man, just nasty, nasty spots all around that did not need to happen. Ric Flair definitely did not need to be in this match, but then again, what can you do? I'm not booking the show.
really created a WrestleMania moment in 2006. And
Yeah.
I think that's what makes this Mania stand out from a lot of them. There are a lot of trademark WrestleMania moments on this show.
Yes, there are.
Let's talk about what happens next. And this is such a weird, you can't tell if it's a work or a shoot moment, because just like every WrestleMania, you have the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And every WrestleMania, they bring out the inductees and they have them stand on the stage so they can get their ovation. They introduce all of them. But there's two things about this certain class that I want to talk about. Number one,
yes,
Hart is the headliner, but you wouldn't be able to tell because Eddie Guerrero got inducted too. You would have swore Eddie was the headliner for this class. But considering Bret is a focal point of the storyline between Mr. McMahon and Shawn Michaels, and he's clearly not ready to come back to WWE, even though, again, he's the basis of a feud, Howard Finkel gets on the mic and straight up says, Bret Hart was not comfortable participating in tonight's festivities. So his family is here to accept for him. And I'm just like, was that really necessary?
No.
Like, if this was a storyline like tool to bring Bret back to TV so they could have the Bret Vince feud there, I would get it. But that clearly is not in the cards. Like, Bret was barely comfortable doing video packages for WWE, for doing interviews. I remember when they wanted to put together that DVD set that kickstarted this feud, The Excellence of Execution, Bret didn't want anything to do with WWE, but he personally stepped in and said, like, no way. I saw what you guys did to Warrior. If you were going to make a DVD about me, I want to supervise the entire thing, and I will handpick the matches that are going to go on there.
There you go.
So it was just this weird period where, yeah, Bret still hates the WWE, but he's like dipping his toe in the pool. And this just seemed like such an unnecessary and petty shot by Vince to straight up say on TV, Bret wasn't comfortable being here tonight.
Well,
he's a little jabroni.
Let's just say that his legacy is very important to him, and he wants to do his best to preserve it. But you also got to remember, if what you said is true, and Bret did not want to be involved physically in the storylines, he has good reason to. Like 4 years prior to this, he suffered from a stroke. So obviously he wasn't going to, get physical or anything. His career was long over. The thrust kick from Goldberg was 7 years prior to this.
And I get that. I totally get that. It was just, again, just a weird and unnecessary shot. Like on a night where you're supposed to be celebrating the legends, Eddie's going in, Vicky is very emotional, Chavo's very emotional, the fans are still in their feels. To use that opportunity to just take a petty shot at Bret, like, that was so weird.
Yeah. But, then again, this is also the company that oversaw the death of his brother. So, so he might not have been comfortable yet getting back into that same building, where I know Chicago is not where Owen died, but again, it's like it might drum up some bad memories for him. Again, these are just theories. Yeah, you never know what's going on in another person's mind. But yes, to your point, Eddie Guerrero was inducted, what was it at this point? Like 6 months after his death. Vicky Guerrero is there to accept it. Chavo is out there as well. It's in a very emotional scene.
Let me ask you something, because I've heard this debate several times this year just because, Bray Wyatt passed away. Do you think it was still too soon and WWE was not letting the fans grieve by inducting Eddie right away?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, then again, this is going to be a recurring theme over, the year after Shawn Michaels retires, Shawn Michaels then is inducted into the Hall of Fame. The year after Edge has his first retirement, Edge goes in.
I think WWE has learned their lesson now that wrestlers, they're not done until they're done. So maybe let's hold back on inducting them. Like, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm surprised Bryan Danielson didn't go in 2015. Maybe WWE knew, this motherfucker's going to be back.
Yeah.
So let's hold back on making him WWE Hall of Famer, because he might, I don't know, jump ship to a rival wrestling promotion.
Yeah. And now we don't know if he's ever going in. But the rest of the class is actually very solid. Mean Gene Okerlund, who actually just had a segment prior to this, which we forgot to mention, he's being interviewed by Josh Matthews. Randy Orton interrupts him. And Mean Gene's like, well, what's going on here? And he steps out of the frame, and then Randy
Randy Orton goes like, oh, why are we focusing on people of the past? And Okerlund's like, give me a break. I don't have to sit here. He just leaves. I was like, you know what?
Oh, give me a break. Get off my jacket.
He's not going to let Randy Orton just straight up disrespect him like that. So he's like, fuck you, I'm leaving. And Orton
Randy goes,
what's that all about?
Randy goes, you know something, Mean Gene?
Oh, my God. But Orton basically cuts a promo saying, oh, when I'm inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. How weird is that, hearing that from Orton in 06? How weird.
2024, and he's still going strong at 295 pounds.
So he's basically boasting about how he's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship tonight. And then he gets a tap on the shoulder. And it's funny because you look at the motion of the tap, and it's kind of like someone say, excuse me, I'm trying to get to the vending machine. It's our good friend Dave Bautista, who just
Big Dave
really misses WWE right now.
Fucking forgot Big Dave was here.
It's kind of ominous to what Bautista says, because Bautista says it doesn't matter who wins tonight. They're just keeping the championship warm for me when I come back. And next year, I will be World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania. And he's not wrong.
Is he Nostradamus?
He does go into Mania 23 as the World Heavyweight Champion.
Jesus.
So crazy.
Yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, rest of the class, Gene Okerlund, sensational Sherry Martel. It was so eerie seeing her walk out on that stage. Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, Vern Gagne, and the celebrity, the Blackjacks, and William the Refrigerator Perry. Do you remember who the fridge was? Yes. Okay. Fine. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You were still snapping at me. Yeah. William Perry.
Inducted by John Cena. And that's very interesting because I've watched this Hall of Fame ceremony a few times in my life. And even at the Hall of Fame ceremony, Cena is getting booed. He is getting booed for inducting someone into the Hall of Fame.
Inducting a Chicago Bears defensive lineman from one of the greatest defenses in history, the 1985 Bears. So
So instead of just appreciating that, the Chicago fans boo Cena.
Yeah. It's Bizarro World, remember. So up next for the United States Championship, Chris Benoit is going up against President John Bradshaw Layfield, or he wishes he was president at this point. He wishes that was his gimmick. This is a cool spot. The ramp actually is lifted up, and the limo actually drives in from underneath the entrance ramp. I don't think they ever did this again.
Well, I mean, until later in the main event, but I get what you mean,
Yeah, but this is like the only show where you ever saw wrestlers come in from underneath the ramp.
Yeah, that was a really cool visual. Also, I have a question for you. Where's that Super JBL fan from last year, huh? Where is she? Where is she? She was proudly holding her JBL 100, and then at the end of the match, she was celebrating with John Cena. So where'd she go, huh? Where'd she go?
Well, I mean, she just wasn't in the crowd this time because Bradshaw was not raining Bradshaw dollars to make her rich.
Can I actually share a very unrelated story that might kind of feed into this?
Fuck it.
When I went to WrestleMania 31, I went to Fan Access. And I was standing in line for who I thought was going to be Eric Rowan. It ended up being Bad News Barrett because they swapped out. But while I was standing in line to meet Rowan, there was this couple standing behind us. And they didn't speak very good English, but they came up to me and they go, excuse me, who are we in line to meet? And I go, oh, we're in line to meet Eric Rowan. And they looked him up. And they go, oh, that's Eric Rowan. And I looked at the picture, like, yeah, that's Eric Rowan. They call him Big Red because he has a big red beard. And they go, oh, Big Red, Big Red. And, me and Hugo were sitting there. I'm like, why are they here if they don't know the wrestlers? We were wondering that. And just by their cadence and their behavior, we just kind of put together that they were from another country and they just wanted to go to conventions. And they didn't care what the conventions were for. They were just having a good time there. So it really just goes to show that people from all over the world come to WrestleMania, and some of them might not even be the biggest wrestling fans. They might not even know what the storylines are. They just see, oh, big, huge spectacle WrestleMania. I want to go and just enjoy myself. And I think that's really freaking cool. And that's what that meeting may have just been. She saw JBL dollars, like, oh, cool, look, it's the champion's face. But when John Cena beat him for the title, she's probably just like, cool, Cena won the title.
So you're not going to give her as much of a hard time anymore, huh?
I would like to meet her one day.
Oh my God.
Get that story. I would like to know that story.
Anyway, this match was stiff, wasn't it? These guys were very physical with each other.
for the United States title. And the story basically is this is JBL's theory. And it's a little uncomfortable of a theory, but as a kid, I really didn't think of it. You know, Eddie's death was still fresh in my mind. In JBL's mind, he defeated Eddie Guerrero, a great technical wrestler, for the WWE Championship. If he can defeat Benoit, another great technical wrestler, for the United States title, by that math, JBL is the greatest technical wrestler of all time. And that pisses the fans off, but that's why JBL is a good heel.
Well, what kind of Steiner math was he doing to come to that conclusion?
Exactly. You want an eerie statistic?
Yes.
Out of the last 3 championships JBL won in his WWE career, the WWE title, the United States title, and the Intercontinental title, 2 of those opponents died less than 2 years later.
Yeah, that's fucking sad when you really think about it that way. So JBL avoids the crippler crossface. He avoids the sharpshooter early on. He is taking a lot of breaks on the outside. JBL is a very hefty man.
It's okay, JBL. 2 months. Just wait 2 months.
JBL starts doing the 3 amigos, and then he does the Eddie Guerrero dance, which I'm sure really pissed everybody off because JBL.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You look at kayfabe and you look at, real life. Yeah, JBL and Eddie were great rivals during his WWE title run, and you may look at JBL doing this as mocking Eddie. You also have to understand that JBL and Eddie were actually very close outside the ring. Like, JBL goes on account many times to say, Eddie was my best man during my wedding. So
yeah,
JBL wanted to pay tribute to his friend, but, when you're looking at it a fan's perspective, you're just like, what a disrespectful asshole.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Benoit then in return gives 3 amigos of his own, and then he very uncomfortably goes up top and hits the Dynamite Kid flying headbutt about a year or so before Benoit himself passed away and killed his wife and his son. Not a smart idea with the flying headbutt. Then yeah, that's a near fall there. Benoit goes for a German suplex. Benoit with the crossface. And then JBL is not in the crossface for very long, Tomas. As JBL rolls over, Benoit is stuck in an inside cradle position, and JBL is close enough to the ropes, and he has enough reach where he can grab the second rope for leverage. And JBL pins Chris Benoit, and not only becomes the United States champion for the first time in his career, but also, by his math, the greatest technical wrestler alive today. And you know why that is? Because he is a wrestling god!
I love the call by Michael Cole at the end of the match. JBL just stole the damn title.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael Cole, you don't like JBL? Well, I got some bad news for you in like 3 months. That's like really bad news for you.
Yeah. Folks, stay tuned for the Great American Bash review when we get to that, because oh boy, that's JBL's.
Wait till the One Night Stand review when the announcement is made.
Well, that's JBL's first actual pay-per-view on commentary. So that's when
but the announcement is made at One Night Stand. So we'll give you a little preview of what we're talking about, what we mean when we say that. But this match, they were given 10 minutes?
10, 11 minutes, something like that.
Just like a certain other match later on the card, they're not given a lot of time, but they really utilize their time well in this, and it is very stiff. You couldn't ask for 2 more stiffer workers.
They were chopping the hell out of each other, man.
I'll give it 3 3.25 for just how physical the match was.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3 for the same reason. Again, I feel like I would have liked a little bit more time. This had potential to be JBL's best match that he ever had. It doesn't come close to the Texas Bull Rope match, in my opinion. But in that case, yeah, this is still a pretty, these are 2 ring generals, not to be confused with Gunther. So these guys knew what they were doing. So
I also will say you could chop off 2 or 3 matches from this card. And yeah, I think that's how you could give these guys 15 minutes, because I think that's what they deserve.
Totally. But this next match, absolutely not an option. Not an option. Do not cut this from the card. This is...
So...
Yeah.
This is how I'm going to lead into this. Remember when everybody was so mad, so pissed off, ready to riot and set libraries on fire and burn books because Edge only held the WWE title for 1 month? This is what I have to say. If Edge did not lose the WWE title, we would have not gotten this match, and I wouldn't trade this match for anything in the world. It is Edge versus Mick Foley in a hardcore match. Now,
Yes.
how did we get here? Well, Edge got his WWE Championship rematch after the Royal Rumble. He actually defeated Cena by disqualification after Lita hit Edge with the title by mistake, but it ended up helping Edge because he won the match. He would get a rematch 2 weeks later on Raw, but Mick Foley was a special guest referee. Foley was appointed because Foley sees everything and he calls it right down the middle. Foley didn't do anything to Edge to cause him to lose this match, but Edge is a whiny heel, and he decided to put all the blame onto Mick Foley. He called Mick Foley. He said he's no longer the hardcore like he used to be. Now he's just some Muppet that smiles.
Muppet. Muppet. He calls Mick pathetic, to be more precise.
But he challenges Foley to a match at WrestleMania, and in classic Foley fashion, just like Foley did with The Rock in 1998.
1999, I think. Yeah, with the I Quit match.
Foley comes out and says, "No, Edge, I deny your request for a match at WrestleMania. But here's the thing. I deny your request for a wrestling match, and I challenge you to a hardcore match." And this was this time in WWE where I felt like your proving ground, the gatekeeper was Mick Foley. If you could hang with Foley in a hardcore match, you're made. And I feel like Edge was still on the cusp of, we put the WWE Championship on you. You're very over with the crowd. But can you that extra mile? Can you really go through true pain and suffering to show how dedicated you are to becoming a main eventer? And this match is so fucking good.
Yes.
It's up there as one of my favorite hardcore matches of all time.
Match of the night. Easily for me. Edge comes out in that iconic get-up. He's wearing the vest, and Lita is out there looking great as she always did. Mick Foley comes out there wearing...
Edge comes out with a baseball bat.
He does.
Straight up baseball bat.
Yeah, just a straight-up baseball bat. There's no barbed wire on it at this point. Mick Foley comes out. He's wearing a darker flannel shirt that is buttoned up. He's looking like me on a regular old day at the office. So Edge and Foley are circling each other. Edge is dominating the first part of this match. And before I forget, Joey Styles is on commentary for this. And what I forgot, JR does not say a damn word during this hardcore match. Nope. It is Joey Styles and Jerry Lawler on commentary, just like it's been for the past 6 months. Joey was calling this thing. Yeah, Joey, you mentioned it. He called this match like he had some kind of chip on his shoulder. And
so there's a couple of very awkward moments in this point because the match starts off and Jerry Lawler says, "Oh, Joey." And, it's a funny joke, but just the fact that he botched it and they have to keep saying this word is so uncomfortable. He goes, "Oh, Joey, you're losing your hardcore virginity tonight." And Joey goes, "No, King, I am not losing my hardcore virginity. I'm losing my WrestleMania virginity." And I'm like, oh
he's
my God,
popping his WrestleMania cherry.
Just so everybody is clear, no, Joey Styles, this is not the first time he's ever called a hardcore match. In case you didn't remember, he's kind of the voice of ECW. He has never called a WrestleMania match, but I think that statistic is really cool that he actually got to call a WrestleMania match.
Yes.
And then later in the match, I forgot, Jerry Lawler just says something and Joey Styles just bites his head off. And I'm like, okay, wow, Joey, tell me you are upset and you hate Jerry Lawler without telling me that you're upset and you hate Jerry Lawler.
Oh, ain't that the truth? Yeah, Joey was not very happy that he missed WrestleMania here. So what happens next is this whole entire match is freaking awesome. Edge is dominating the early part of this thing, proving every single part of his promo correct, that Mick Foley is this pathetic, washed-up old man at this point.
He takes Foley to the outside, and Foley runs at him to attack, and Edge performs a hip toss to Foley, and Foley's full body just slams into the side of the steel steps.
Oh.
Edge then picks up Foley again and throws him full force into the steel steps, and Foley does that nasty bump where he bangs both of his knees and does a flip over the staircase.
Yes.
Goddamn, Foley did not need to be bumping the way he was in this match, but God damn it, he's hardcore Jesus for a reason.
Foley taking the headshots from the cookie sheets early on in this thing too. Edge then sets up within a couple of minutes of the match with a spear. He hits the spear, and it looks like Edge is selling this spear more than Foley is. And then you start to see the red viscous fluid trickling out of Edge's shoulder. And then I'm like, why is he bleeding? Foley opens up the flannel, and he had barbed wire wrapped around his torso. That is fucking genius. Like that,
I love that
I feel
spot.
like that was a callback to Bret Hart when he had the steel plate as defense to Goldberg's spear in WCW. So good
Not only
callback there.
that, Edge's selling in this match is on another level. Like, he is shaking. He is looking at his arm and it's bleeding out. He looks like he's in a goddamn horror movie. Foley then takes wire cutters and starts flipping off the barbed wire. He takes the barbed wire and starts whipping Edge with it.
The only thing missing was the "you sick fuck" chance, but again, we weren't going to get it in 2006.
And then when Foley is setting up, he wraps barbed wire around Mr. Sacco, and I love this call because Foley takes out Sacco, and Joey Styles says, "That's not very hardcore." And then Foley wraps the barbed wire around Sacco, and Joey Styles goes, "Okay, now that's hardcore." He goes to go for Sacco on Edge, but then Lita interjects herself in the match, jumps on Foley's shoulders, and then he cactus clotheslines Edge and Lita over the top rope.
Yep.
And Lita, nasty spill.
Oh, lands right on her tailbone. Like, that could not have been comfortable at all. And then, to your point, later on, he wraps up the Mr. Sacco in barbed wire, and then Lita is the one who takes the mandible claw.
Yeah.
Gnarly.
And there's a sick shot afterward. After Lita takes Sacco, she rolls to the outside, and there is blood dripping on her lip, and she just goes, like, oh my God, she wasn't scared to get in there and get dirty too.
Yeah, Lita's a badass. You know, whatever you want to think about her, badass. So Edge then introduces lighter fluid, and then he starts. He is spraying the flannel of Mick Foley at this point, like he's gonna set Mick Foley on fire.
Let me ask you this, because when we get to that spot, I feel like I should say this for the spot, but do you think, because I saw 2 separate bottles of lighter fluid, do you think this bottle was some sort of like flame retardant that he was
maybe honestly it might have been to set up for the big sick bump later. Edge,
yeah, and I'll go more into that spot later, but I noticed that it's like, why is he dousing Foley in it? And then later on in the match, I see another bottle of lighter fluid, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, how much lighter fluid do you need for one spot?
Yeah. Edge.
We'll get into that in a minute.
I mean, like, now that you say that, I think honestly, yeah, like he was probably giving Foley some defense so that he's safe from the from getting set on fire.
You look at other fire spots in wrestling. You look at Kane in the first ever Inferno match. Only his glove was on fire because he was wearing a flame retardant glove. You look at Kane and MVP in their Inferno match that we're going to talk about at the end of the year. Only the back suit of MVP's suit caught on fire because his suit is flame retardant. You look at the Firefly Inferno match between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, and how much heavy padding Randy Orton was wearing is because, well, he's in a match involving fire. He's got to protect himself somehow. Yeah. So, you know, just one of the many tricks in pro wrestling that we've seen over the years.
Totally. So Edge then continues to dominate. He reintroduces the Barbie baseball bat, not to be confused with the Margot Robbie baseball bat, but there's barbed wire wrapped around, you know. It could be both. It could be both, honestly. But Edge then proceeds to beat 50...
You mean the Tiffy bat?
50 shades of shit out of Mick Foley with this barbed wire baseball bat. He takes it in the stomach. Foley is bleeding over his eye. You know, the Sacco spot happens. Foley now has the Barbie in his possession, smashes Edge with it in the stomach. Edge is bleeding everywhere. Like, there's just
the bat and rakes it over Edge's face, and
classic Foley spot.
Match was like probably the most realistic like blood spots I've ever seen. And then here it comes. Oh boy, here it comes, because Foley's looking to finish off Edge, and I think Lita hits him with a low blow. After that, Lita goes to the outside, and there's a table set up, and she starts spraying the table with the lighter fluid.
Mm-hmm.
And she is dousing this table in lighter fluid, and she takes a lighter out, she sets it on fire. Foley's on the apron, and I could watch this spot 100 million times.
Oh, so awesome.
Spears Foley off of the apron into the fire and the flames. And this is what I want to talk about this spot, because it's very, in pro wrestling, when you've seen fire get used, especially, let's take Double or Nothing, for example. When Jack Perry got set on fire, there was a team of people with fire extinguishers ready to put parry out the minute he caught on fire. In this case, no, he spears him through the fire, and then the flames immediately go out. No fire extinguishers, nobody's on hand. They raw dog that spot.
Yeah.
And they show that spot so many times. By the way, because of course, Edge gets the pin after this, and Edge wins.
Yeah.
And before we talk about the aftermath of this match, they play this spot several times in slow motion, and you just see Foley encapsulated in fire. And after the match, you look at his arm. No, ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your television screens. You do not need eyeglasses. The fire singed all of the hair off of Foley's arm.
Well, and keeping in mind, Edge was going head first into the flames, and he was shivering. He was shivering. Like
the selling after this match
was
on another level.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite WrestleMania endings, one of my favorite WrestleMania spots I've ever seen. Edge, of course, pins Mick Foley after that. It was a glorious 15 minutes of hardcore that I'm going to give 4.5 stars to. It was match of the night for me. Loved it.
I'm surprised. I'm actually giving it 4 3/4 stars. It was a damn near perfect match.
Fuck it. 4 3/4. Yep.
It was a damn near perfect match, and you're probably wondering when I rate match 4 3/4 stars, I always ask myself, what would this match need to give it that little extra oomph to make it perfect 5 stars? Not saying there wasn't, but there are 2 factors. Number 1, a little more time, actually. I would have liked if these guys got 5 more minutes. And number 2, I don't think this match had enough heat.
Yeah, because if you even compare this to, let's say, the hardcore match Foley had with Randy Orton a couple years prior to this, the Intercontinental title, the Intercontinental title was also on the line, and Foley and Edge are just starting their program. So the fact that you put this match out like right away, and it's like, where else do you have the feud go?
Yeah, if you look at the Foley Orton feud, and that was like 6 months of build. It started when Orton first won the Intercontinental title while Foley was commissioner of Raw, and then you fast forward to the infamous spot where Foley walks out on the title match and Orton spits in his face on the way out. Foley eliminating Orton from the Royal Rumble. Foley reforming the Rock and Sock Connection to fight Evolution and Mania. And then it culminated in this hardcore match. The build to this match is Edge is being a pissy little bitch because he couldn't win back the WWE title. And now he and Foley hate each other.
Yeah.
So a little more heat and a little more drama. Not to say this match wasn't dramatic at all. This is like one of the best spot fests I've ever seen in my life. And it's, again, just that spot. I could watch it over and over and over. And like you said, Edge looked traumatized after this match. He gets up. He is shivering. He is shaking. He backs up. He won the match, but he does not look like a winner.
No. Foley gets up and he looks like a warrior. He finally gets his WrestleMania moment, because that was another thing about this feud. Edge was trying to goad Mick Foley out of retirement so he could get that one big WrestleMania spot in. That one big memorable WrestleMania match, because Foley's record at Mania as well, like, not very stellar. So Foley,
there's 2 things that came out of this match. Number 1, I talk about the DVD, and in the DVD they have some backstage features, and there is a backstage feature with Foley after the match, and he's getting worked on, he's getting bandaged up, and there's this one line that Foley says that just has been imprinted on my brain for the rest of my life. He looks up, and I think somebody says, "Hey, what's that smell?" And Foley goes, "That's charred flesh."
Yeah, that right there is charred flesh.
Yeah.
As someone who's
Foley has gone on account saying, yes, that match singed all of the hair off my arm, and that's why I can't grow hair on my arms anymore.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. But yeah, probably this is the best match on the show for me. Like, no questions asked. It had everything you want in hardcore wrestling, I think. If you're a fan of, like, deathmatch wrestling as well, you probably love this.
Zach, how did we talk about this match without talking about the thumbtack spot?
Oh my god! How did that happen? Yeah, so Edge introduces thumbtacks as well, and, this is a Foley staple. Edge, he takes a backdrop or a black hole slam or something, and Edge is a pincushion. He is shaking, and the selling of the thumbtacks as well. Yeah.
Look, I'm pretty sure there's a word for it, but I have a fear of sharp objects. I don't like needles. I don't like thumbtacks. I don't like push pins. So every time I have to watch a thumbtack spot,
Yeah.
I don't think there's an amount of money in the world you could pay me to take a thumbtack spot.
No, you couldn't pay me to take a thumbtack spot either. Holy cow!
So,
but Edge has.
Tell me,
go ahead.
What spot was worse, that one or the Orton spot from Backlash?
Oh, I would say the Edge spot because well, actually no, because Orton's shirt was off by that point, right? By the time he went to the Orton spot was worse. The Orton spot was worse.
I recall this time when I was a kid and I stepped on a thumbtack.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most painful things in my life. And every time I watch a match like this, I just imagine I couldn't handle one thumbtack in my heel. What the hell makes me think I can take 100 thumbtacks all up my back, on my legs, in my arm?
I'm sorry. Edge is the rated R superstar, so he had 69 tacks in his back. Nice.
I would laugh at that joke, but Chris Jericho made that stupid joke in 2016.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny then.
Yeah, it wasn't funny, yeah, but at least with Edge it makes sense since he's rated R and that's his gimmick. But anyway, yeah, this is the match I remember Mania 22 the most for. This one right here.
It's an all-timer.
This is it.
I know you're so excited. You are just...
yeah. This is...
Let's talk about this segment.
This is the best match of the year right here. So up next, you have a
what
special...
about the segment beforehand?
Oh, no, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Let me just, lay the groundwork here. Hold on. Hold your horses. The Boogeyman going up against Booker T and his wife Sharmell in 2-on-1 handicap action. So before the match...
Not just handicap action, intergender handicap action. What does that mean? It means Queen Sharmell can also fight the Boogeyman.
Yeah, and this is punishment for Booker T and Sharmell always ducking out of their matches, especially on the road to WrestleMania, because Booker T was legit. Booker T was legit injured.
Yeah, you got to admit though, the build to this match was pretty funny.
Yeah, so these two were supposed to. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Oh, and even that Saturday Night's main event episode was so great. You remember the beer drinking contest between JBL and Stone Cold? JBL knew he stood no chance at beating Austin, that he just starts pouring beers down his chest to make them go down faster. And they're going back to back.
I mean,
loved it.
I loved it because it was also so integral in the road to WrestleMania. They had a 3-on-2 handicap match where the two main events fought each other. They don't do that anymore.
Cena and Hunter beat them. Yeah, it was just it was a match basically to determine who was actually going to go on last, probably. It was just it was a cool way to promote WrestleMania. But I also remember they were doing a really good job of paying tribute to the old school Saturday Night's main event, except for it was on NBC, and you gotta have the promotion of the station. And I remember when JBL got to his segment, he just straight up goes, "My name is not Earl," and I'm like, "You mean that shitty TV show that is on NBC?" Jesus Christ. So. What I'm sure you were going to refer to, the Boogeyman was supposed to wrestle Booker T 1-on-1 on Saturday Night's main event. Booker T is then being checked out by a doctor, and he is hamming up the fact that he cannot wrestle tonight because his knee is too hurt. He can't go out there and perform. But little do they know, Booker T is scared shitless of the Boogeyman, wants nothing to do with him. So he fakes this injury, and then later on, we see Booker T stepping out of the shower, and he's doing a happy dance with a towel on, and he's saying that his knee is fine. The Boogeyman's music hits in the dressing room, and he steps up behind the couch. He rises up, and Booker T and Sharmell run out. How is it that Boogeyman, anytime he makes an entrance backstage, his music has to hit to scare people? How,
and the fog has to happen, and the red lighting happens, and... It's
rubbish.
Visceral, like we said at New Year's Revolution. He just hiding out all night.
Fuck you, Kevin Dunn. Fuck you, Kevin Dunn. So Boogeyman. So the reason why the match actually did not happen at Saturday Night's main event is because for shoot, the Boogeyman was hurt. So they had to basically come up with some sort of excuse to not make the Boogeyman look like a chump. And then, lo and behold, this match was postponed to WrestleMania. Teddy Long doesn't like Sharmell. He decides to add her into the match, and The match takes place in the Boogeyman's weird red fog that's just residue from his entrance.
Oh, yeah, because this match only goes 4 minutes, so that's not even enough time for the fog to clear from the ring area.
Well, even 4 minutes is way too... 4 minutes is...
amount of fog for his entrance.
4 minutes is way too fucking long for this match. So, what happens is Booker T...
talk about before the match.
Oh my God! He really wants me to talk about this segment. So fuck it. I have to, yeah. So Sharmell is basically begging her husband, I don't want to do this match. Booker T basically says if they don't do it, they're both fired, even though Sharmell was hired on the year before, probably as a favor to Booker after getting married to him. So Booker says that he's dealt with a lot of freaks throughout his life. And they start walking down the hallway towards the gorilla position or towards the guillotine, whichever you prefer. And they stumble across a harem scarum of just the weirdest gimmicks of all wrestling history. First off, they come across Pirate Paul Burchill, who is dressed up. Yeah. This is probably one of the only times we talked about him, right? Paul Burchill, basically in the backstage segment, he was William Regal's former protege. Paul Burchill said that he was a descendant of Blackbeard. Regal laughed it off, and then the next week, Paul Burchill shows up as a pirate, like Jack Sparrow. And William Regal is
swinging from a rope.
It's a fucking awesome entrance, actually, with an awesome with an awesome theme song. Paul Burchill beats William Regal on an episode of SmackDown, and that's pretty much all he does of note in his career until his sister Katie Lee comes into the picture. Paul Burchill is just like doing the sword play here. It's not as good as Gore Verbinski would have directed it because Dead Man's Chest was coming out that summer. And then up next, you see Eugene is bouncing a basketball with the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. This is a reference to when Ted DiBiase brought up like a 10-year-old kid in the late 80s. He said, I will give you and your family $500 if you can bounce this basketball 15 times without getting interrupted. And what does Ted DiBiase do when Eugene gets to 14?
He puts his foot out.
He kicks the ball. And he says, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Yeah. He says, sorry, Eugene, but you don't get the money. And he looks at Booker T and goes, hey, Booker, you want to make $1,000? So also,
love Ted DiBiase.
Why does that make Ted DiBiase a freak?
Because of the laugh.
Also, it's very insensitive that they put Eugene in here.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling Eugene a freak.
Yeah, and that he's manipulated easily by the $1 Million Man.
Now that is okay, but just say like, oh, Eugene, that makes him a freak. I'm like, you guys are assholes.
You guys are fucking assholes. Well, it's not as freakish as what they see next, right?
Oh my God. I would give so much money. I would sell my soul to the devil to just forget about this and pretend that it never happened. But
yeah.
Also, after you say what happened, fine, I'll say it, and then I'm going to reveal a very, very disturbing fact.
Go ahead.
So, Snitsky is licking the toes of Mae Young.
Why?
And he is tonguing down Mae's foot. And he looks up at Booker and says, hey, you want to join? Now, I know what the question on all of our minds has been for the past 20 years. Why did Snitsky have a foot fetish gimmick? I actually found out why.
Why?
Snitsky has a foot fetish in real life.
Oh, he does. Oh, fantastic. It's like Pulp Fiction has a foot fetish, right? That must be his favorite movie.
Totally does.
Yeah. Except Pulp Fiction is actually a fucking masterpiece, and this is just rubbish.
Hey, listen. Once upon a time in Hollywood, he knew what he was doing with Margot Robbie.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's no way he did it.
So that disgusting image is imprinted on my brain for the rest of my life. And then this was funny, and this was awesome. This was so awesome. He runs into his old pal Goldust.
Yep.
He looks at Goldust and he goes, "The hell are you doing here?" And you don't even work here. You don't even work here, dog. Go back to TNA. Back to TNA.
I'll see you next year, sucker.
Yeah, but That's not Goldust. Goldust said that that Booker T needs help. He's still his friend, so he wants to help him. So he has channeled Oprah Dust because they're in Chicago. So he dressed up as Oprah Winfrey. And so you think that Goldust is going to give Booker T like this? He says, like, no, you got to understand, we're all freaks. And in order to beat the Boogeyman, you need to become a freak too. You think it's going to be like this big, like, revealing thing, like he's going to reveal some real advice to, like, help Booker T beat the Boogeyman? And he goes, so you know how the Boogeyman housed those worms? If you wanted to beat the Boogeyman, you need to take those worms and and he whispers something in Booker's ear. We never find out what it is. The only thing I can imagine he said is, shove them up your ass or something stupid like that.
Yeah, stick them in your ear or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so Booker gets hella mad and he walks away, and the whole cast of freaks is there. And of course, Snitsky says, that wasn't my fault. What? Nobody is saying something is your fault, Snitsky. Why are you saying that? Nobody is blaming you for anything.
This writing isn't my fault.
That's probably what he was saying. And then $1 Man goes,
yeah. God, what a fucking surreal segment this was.
And then he stands there.
Yeah, you notice how Tomas and I are just talking about this segment more than the actual match? Because the match is nothing. The match really is nothing. Booker T dominates a good chunk of it.
I want to point out that Booker and Sharmell get scared of their own pyro because they forget. Because Booker is just trying to calm Sharmell down as they're going to the ring. And he forgot that his pyro is there, even though he does this, 200 days a year? 300 days a year?
Yeah.
And he gets scared shitless by his pyro. I'm like, well, buddy, that was your WrestleMania entrance, and you just ruined it.
Yeah.
You ruined your own WrestleMania entrance.
So
Booker T just has the worst look like a WrestleMania, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Booker
book him like a beast any other day of the year.
So
the minute March rolls around, Vince is like, sorry, man, got nothing for you.
Let's recap. WrestleMania 18, he wrestles Edge in a match over a Japanese shampoo commercial.
I mean, I don't want to be in a Japanese shampoo commercial.
Mania 19, he wrestles Triple H for the world title. He's hit with a pedigree, and he has to sell it for 30 seconds before Hunter pinned him. Booker T
People
defends...
like Booker T don't deserve to be World Heavyweight Champion.
He defends the tag team titles at WrestleMania 20 with RVD. It's a random-ass team. 5-minute match. Mania 21, he's in the Battle Royal on the pre-show. Now he's wrestling the Boogeyman. And this match, I wish it only went about 30 seconds, but, again, even that would have been way too long. Booker has his wife start the match because Booker's gimmick is that he's a coward. Boogeyman kisses Booker T's wife with a mouthful of worms. Sharmell runs away. Booker T then takes a really shitty pump handle slam from Boogeyman, and he is pinned. This match did not need to be here. This sucked. -1 star. That's what I got.
Understood. I'm gonna give it 0 stars. I agree with you. I get it. Look, I get it. They are obviously pushing the Boogeyman. You also have to remember this is the second world champion he's pinned, and for the next 8 months or so is he's going to go on a winning streak. He's going to be pinning everybody.
Yeah,
and you could tell, despite the gimmick and despite the heat he had back in Tough Enough for being 30 years old,
30,
they clearly want to do something with the Boogeyman. And I get wanting to put him on this big stage and give him a big moment. But at the expense of Booker T?
Come on, man.
At the expense of Booker T, who has proved to have been the workhorse on SmackDown almost its entire year, comes off one of the best feuds in Chris Benoit of the year. You can even say it's like the mid-card feud of the year.
Yeah.
And he's reduced to this?
Well, the good news is the rest of the year is very fruitful for one Booker T. And we will certainly talk about that. And this is the last time we're talking about this iteration of Booker T, to my recollection, because at Judgment Day, he is rechristened under one of the most memorable gimmicks I can remember, through the entire Ruthless Aggression era. So this match, waste of time, didn't need to be here, but yeah, this is one of the cooldowns after the hardcore match. The next match was supposed to be another cooldown in Vince's mind before a casket match. But what do we got, Tomas?
And a rematch from New Year's Revolution. we have Trish Stratus defending her WWE Women's Championship against Mickie James. And this feud has really kicked to a fever pitch. We talked about New Year's Revolution and we talked about the Royal Rumble, how the dynamic in the relationship between Mickie James and Trish Stratus has gotten really uncomfortable. Well, Trish Stratus on an episode of Raw, I think backstage, it was the Christmas episode, I think. Oh, wait, no, we already talked about the Christmas episode. But yes. Backstage, and Trish Stratus just straight up goes, "This is too much. Like, I'm done. I'm sorry. I can't be your friend anymore." And Mickie James is still very obsessed with Trish Stratus, so she just snaps. She snaps and she beats the fuck out of Trish Stratus, basically saying, "If I can't have you, I'm going to hurt you, and I'm going to take your women's championship away."
Mm-hmm. She also kidnaps Ashley Massaro, who is Trish's actual best friend in storyline. And then she's like, "You want to help Ashley? You get down." She is psycho out of her mind.
Yeah, like Trish Stratus goes to save Ashley, and Mickie James said, "You take one more step, I will kick her head off." Like, god damn, Mickie James was really putting in the work in this feud. And I loved it. I loved the build to this match. And the match itself, I have to admit, it's not as good as I remember it being. Still very solid, still great storytelling, still a great story going in, and the outcome of it was something I genuinely didn't expect. Also, this crowd was almost 100% behind Mickie James. Vince McMahon fucking hated these crowd reactions, because I'm sure he was feeding these lines to Jim Ross, and he was like, "What is wrong with these people here in Chicago? This is bizarro world, King." And because they were all, they were hanging on to everything Mickie James would do. When you watch matches,
because it's an investing story. This is 6 months, 6 months of build.
This is, when you watch wrestling matches with this crowd and they pop for every single move that the heel hits. That's what they were doing in this match. They were hanging on to every. It's like Mickie James had an answer for every single move that Trish Stratus was hitting her with. There's this amazing spot where Trish Stratus goes for Stratosphere and Mickie James counters it, and she just does a dragon screw off the top rope, and Mickie lands on the floor, and Stratus crashes onto the ring mat below. And then Mickie James gives this psycho look into the camera, and it's like Mickie James is really putting in the work here. She has a counter for every single one of Trish Stratus's moves. Trish Stratus is trying to be on the offense. And then near the end of the match, we get that spot. And you know what spot I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, but you also got to remember, that is a brilliant method of storytelling here, because you said Mickie has a counter for every single piece of Trish's offense, because Trish is Mickie's favorite wrestler. And Mickie has studied the tape. Mickie has done her homework. So, of course, she's going to have a counter for every move that Trish has. Trish also...
regardless of my criticism of the match, and my criticism of the match is, I just felt like there were some slow spots. I feel like it got a little sloppy at times. And the crowd was very invested into Mickie James. They were invested in Mickie James, but they weren't really invested in the match.
Yeah, so Trish was no slouch in this match either. I mean, she had counters for Mickie as well. Like, Mickie goes for a Hurricane Rana, for example, and Trish has a really nice powerbomb out of it. That was really, really nice wrestling there. Oh, but this spot, are you thinking of this spot where Trish goes for Stratisfaction and then Mickie grabs her?
So Trish Stratus goes for Stratisfaction. She does the whole setup, puts her in the headlock, points to the sky, and Mickie James just grabs handful, and I mean a handful of her crotch. Yeah. And it is so daunting that the only thing Trish Stratus can do is relinquish the hold and just shove her off. Like, what the fuck did you just do to me?
And of course the crowd is eating up every single bit of this. Like, they are just like so invested in it because of that spot. And I'm like, you guys are sick freaks. Sick.
The finish is rather creative. Because Trish Stratus is on offense. She starts to ground and pound Mickie James. The referee has to rip her off. And as she goes back to go back on the offense, Mickie James kicks her in the leg. Trish Stratus falls right face first into Mickie James's knee. And then she gets up. Mickie James hits her with the chick kick, which is now called the Mick kick. 1, 2, 3, clean as a whistle. Mickie James is your brand new women's champion. I'll give the match 3 stars. It was a great story. And a great penultimate match to the feud, and it's the first women's match on a WrestleMania card that had some substance to it. It had storytelling, it had build.
Yeah, I would
the best women's match on a WrestleMania card until WrestleMania 32.
Yeah, I would say, 3.5 for this one as well. I mean, this one and the triple threat from Mania 19, I both thought were very solid as well, where Trish won the belt. And that actually is another thing. Trish had held this title for over a year at this point, and Mickie dethrones her at WrestleMania. The feud is not over. We're going to keep going with this story. And Mickie and Trish will wrestle again at Backlash in a match that's not as great as this one is. I would say this is definitely their best one. I prefer this over New Year's Revolution.
Build is very interesting. Oh my God, it is very interesting.
It's so weird.
It's stuck in my head, and I'm like, yeah, that happened. That definitely happened. Also, before the match, after they show the promo package, again, this is just a memory that's ingrained in my head because I've watched the DVD so many times. The minute the promo package ends, there's this camera shot of all the way up in the nosebleeds as Mickie James' music hits. But the camera focuses on this one guy who's decked out in Hulk Hogan gear. Like he is straight up cosplaying as Hulk Hogan.
Jesus.
And I always look at that guy and just go like, what a sad, sad individual. He's sitting in the very back row for WrestleMania. Like, can he even see?
I mean, like, especially with all the banners that are probably in front of him. Yeah. So, it's still WrestleMania. I mean, I would go.
I know. I'd be like, oh, hell yeah. That guy got to go to WrestleMania 22. But as a kid, I always thought sitting in the very back row would be like the worst thing imaginable. I know, first world problems. But I always remember that. And also, he just had this sad look on his face, like, brother.
Brother? Well, this doesn't work for me, brother. So
how is Hulk Hogan cosplayer from WrestleMania 22? Is he okay? Is he doing all right?
How's green shirt guy doing? I
don't give a shit about green shirt guy. Okay?
How's Heidenreich girl doing, huh? From Judgment Day last year?
How Heidenreich girl is. I want to know
how old. Probably like in her mid-20s at this point.
Is Nicholas old enough to win back the World Tag Team title to Braun Strowman?
Oh, he's close. He's close. He's getting there.
I want Nicholas versus -1.
As usual, this podcast has gone off the rails, Tomas. Nicely done. So, getting back on topic.
Just think about that. Nicholas has a better win percentage at WrestleMania than The Undertaker.
Well, speaking of The Undertaker, oh, wait! No, not The Undertaker yet. We gotta talk about this. So, the camera cuts backstage after Mickie wins the title, and the first thing you see is Vince McMahon's orange chest. And it's zoomed in on it. I'm like, ah! This is disgusting. Why am I looking at this?
Can we agree that Vince McMahon just looked unbelievably natural here?
This is the most demented Vince McMahon you're going to get in character. I mean, actually, the most demented version of Vince McMahon is, out there right now, still lurking. But Vince, is, he's greeted by Shane, he's greeted by Linda, and he's greeted by Stephanie, who is about 6 months pregnant at this point. It was really good to see her, especially at this point in the timeline. He basically looks around the room and, everybody's just admiring the physique. And he's like, well, tonight we're going to do a first here. We're going to have a McMahon family prayer. Everybody get down on your knees.
He's responding to what Shawn Michaels said earlier in the night about you better get on your knees and pray to the God above. And Vince said, could you imagine me praying to God? But that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pray. And they all get on one knee. And Vince says the most damning thing I've ever heard in my life. God, let's admit it. I don't like you, and you don't like me.
And then Stephanie and Shane are looking at each other with the most baffled expressions on their face. They're like, what in the fuck are you talking about, Dad?
Like, when we get into Backlash, and, when we're going to talk about a certain segment, Shane's facial expressions are everything.
Yes.
And also, fuck you, Vince, for making your 6-month pregnant daughter get on her knee. What the fuck, bro?
Messed up. He calls Shawn Michaels God's favorite wrestler. This will be important for Backlash. And then he basically tells God to his face, figuratively, that he's like, I'm sending Shawn Michaels to the fiery depths of hell.
No, he doesn't say that. He says, I'm going to send Shawn Michaels to the fiery depths of hell.
Hallelujah!
Oh my God! It is
God. I hate
for the wrong reason.
I hate saying that this segment was entertaining, but
It was
again.
Funny.
There will
funny for all the wrong reasons.
There will never be another Vince McMahon, you know, and
let's face it, God, I don't like you and you don't like me.
Again, Shane and Stephanie's whole expression during this thing, and Linda was so serious, like she's a charisma vacuum in real life, and she's just looking down at the floor, just like taking it all in. Like,
you know, Linda in her head is probably just like, I can't fucking wait to divorce this man.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't want to wait either.
We're on to the real match of the night, right?
So the Undertaker going one-on-one with Mark Henry in a casket match. How do we get here? Basically, all the other main eventers on SmackDown are tied up in a triple threat match. Undertaker doesn't have anything going on. Mark Henry doesn't have anything going on. So what happens is
Henry was supposed to feud with, and Batista, he's injured. So
yeah. So Undertaker wrestles Kurt Angle for the world title on an episode of SmackDown in a rematch from 2006's Match of the Year at No Way Out. Taker is about to pin Kurt with the tombstone, and then Mark Henry stops the count. Match ends in a disqualification, puts Taker through the announce table. Taker basically says that, "You, me, WrestleMania." And that's how you set it up. That's how you set it up. Easy peasy.
That's the promo package for this. Henry puts Taker through the table, and then he just goes straight to the ring. Like, that's all we needed to know, because this was really a nothing build, and this really was the definition of Taker had no one to work, so they went with Henry. And spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, no, Batista and Mark Henry are never going to have a proper feud.
No.
Because they just keep getting injured.
Yeah. Yeah, Batista and Mark Henry were supposed to wrestle at the Great American Bash. Mark Henry then got injured. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Taker and Henry were supposed to work this pay-per-view, and he got injured. So they honestly, Vince threw his hands up. It's like, fuck it, Batista, when you come back to TV, just beat the fucking shit out of Mark Henry and call it a day. It's kind of like what Tony Khan said to MJF. And we don't know when Adam Cole's gonna be back, so just kick him in the dick and let's call it a day.
Yeah,
wasted your life.
Jesus Christ. This match, especially for casket match standards, was actually kind of boring. Like, the Undertaker, like, and they were really, really hyping up the streak at this point. Undertaker is 13-0 at this point in the timeline. And when you look at the whole, like, even as a kid, I was thinking Mark Henry stands no chance. Undertaker is undefeated here. Like, Mark Henry has had the upper hand this entire build so far. Undertaker's got to get his revenge here. Plus, it's WrestleMania.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
At what point during the WrestleMania streak, like, how long do you think Taker was just naturally booked to win at Mania until they realized, oh shit, he's never lost at Mania? And it kind of became well, now Taker can't lose at Mania. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there was definitely a lot in the latter part of the streak where those matches, as great as they were, you look at them and go, well, now they're in a position where Taker kind of can't lose at Mania because of the streak.
This match is only really remembered for one spot, and one spot only. Mark Henry is on the outside of the ring. He's over by the casket, and it's a supersized casket as well. Because remember, Mark Henry's like 380 some pounds. Taker can't fit him in a normal coffin.
You and your fetish for big dudes, because every time it always has to be an extra large something, or a world's largest this, or a world's largest that, world's largest bracket, world's largest Subway sandwich. Like, goddamn, Vince, what is your fetish with the world's largest things, the world's largest pajamas? Like, look at that. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, Taboo Tuesday. We're gonna have the world's largest computer, and we're gonna put it at the entranceway.
It's so weird. I'm so glad Ico Pro never became a thing, because that was. Anywho, go on.
So Taker. Mark Henry's on the outside, and Taker does the plancha over this casket, and this casket is about like 50 yards long, right? And Taker jumps over this thing, clear over it, and Taker's a big dude, and you can Air Phenom hits the plancha on Mark Henry, hits him with the last ride inside the ring as well.
Because Taker hits the last ride, and Michael Cole pops through. He goes, he just hit Henry with the last stride. And Taz goes, I don't know. That felt more like a running powerbomb. And Cole goes, that was a last ride from the top rope. And I'm just like, this is not the time to be technical.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as, as long as Michael Cole calls it like, just bring it, I'll accept it as the last ride, right? The last ride.
In all seriousness, I didn't hate this match. I just wish it was more of a Haas fight.
Yeah,
it had the potential to be.
This match was kind of boring aside from the plancha and Taker's comeback. He gives Henry a tombstone, which is very impressive itself as well. Then he rolls Henry into the casket, closes the lid, and it's very straightforward. Undertaker's 14-0 at WrestleMania now. Not going to talk about the streak for another year now. So there you go. Star and a half, I guess.
2 3/4.
Whoa!
I thought it was fun for what it was. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was terrible. I have a lot of memories with this match. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, this one I thought was like, I don't know. Again, like Mark Henry stood no chance here. Like I don't know. Like I enjoyed the Heidenreich casket match more. Like a match is kind of subpar when you enjoy a Heidenreich match more. It's
understood. Like I said, I didn't find the match offensive, but I understand. Like if I were to book it better, I would have it be more of a Haas fight, more power spots, more big spots.
Yeah, these two
like they fought around the ring and they tried to put each other in a casket, and Taker won.
Yeah, these two didn't really mesh well for me, but I know you love this next match, Tomas. Okay, let's get into it, huh?
My match of the night.
Debatable.
It all comes down to this. At least we thought we did. Little did we know this feud's going to go for another 6 months.
Jesus Christ.
The Heartbreak Kid, Mr. WrestleMania himself, Shawn Michaels, goes up against Vince McMahon in a no-holds-barred match. It all started in December, like we said. Shawn Michaels told Mr. McMahon, it's time to let it go. It's time to grow up. Get over the Montreal Screwjob. Get over Bret Hart. I'm not going to be your lackey anymore. Vince didn't like that. And ever since then, Vince has been booking Shawn Michaels in these unwinnable situations. He screwed him out of the Royal Rumble. He put him in a street fight with Shane McMahon that Vince, helped him win by recreating the Montreal Screwjob. Shane put Shawn Michaels in the sharpshooter, and Vince rung the bell. He's sicked his cheerleaders in the Spirit Squad on Shawn Michaels so many times. He's put him in 3-on-1 handicap matches, 4-on-1 handicap matches, 5-on-1 handicap matches. And it comes down to WrestleMania, where it's going to be a no-holds-barred match. And Shawn Michaels is just fighting for his life. And that's what I love about this story. It's not about titles. It's not about money. It's not about opportunities. This is just Shawn Michaels fighting for his life. And even though he's fighting the chairman of the board and Vince McMahon, he knows it's him versus the world. He knows Vince is bringing help. He knows it's going to be an uphill battle. And from the start, it is.
It absolutely is. Vince McMahon also reveals his magazine cover for Muscle and Fitness, even though he's very much on steroids. I don't buy for a second that that's natural muscle for him. So he does the... this is also Vince's first real appearance on a pay-per-view after, I think, Royal Rumble 05 when he tore both quads. It's so let's hope that they hold up in this match, huh? So
this is a fight. This is a fight from the start. Michaels is very much an offense in the beginning. He's taking to Vince McMahon. He grabs the magazine cover and he bashes it over Vince's head like cartoon donkey's ass style. Vince is down, and just when you think the match is going to be over there, the Spirit Squad runs in.
Hey, Tomas. I'm sorry to cut you off, but real quick, if I could pull a Chris Lash for a second, what is the difference between a no-holds-barred match and a hardcore match?
I know nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No variety here, right? Yeah.
We had 2 of these on this show. So the Spirit Squad rushed the ring. They bum rush Shawn Michaels. They have no right having one of the nastiest finishers in the world, and it fits with their gimmick. So they're cheerleaders. And what do the cheerleaders do?
Lifts.
They do stuff. So they gather around Shawn Michaels. They each grab one of his limbs. They go 1, 2, 3. And they launch Shawn Michaels so high up in the sky.
Oh, he was in orbit.
Crashing down.
Yeah, if you ever see cheerleaders actually doing tricks and lifts and flips in the air while they do it, it's super impressive when they do it. So these male cheerleaders come in, and again, to your point, it fits their gimmick, that's for sure. Shawn Michaels is... Yeah, go ahead.
He gets launched into orbit. This is such a nasty move, and that takes a lot of trust to let wrestlers do that to you. But then the Spirit Squad, they're celebrating. The Mitch is doing this, and then Nikki is doing What was that? He's doing something over there.
He's doing the Dolph Ziggler thing, right?
But no, he's doing. I'm not gonna get up and do it, but he's like doing something like this. What the fuck is that?
And meanwhile, Kenny Dykstra is hopping off of the top rope, doing that guillotine leg drop that would become his finishing maneuver. Impressive. It is, yeah, and like you can tell that Kenny was the one that they wanted to push as the singles guy, because he was the one that got the spot.
We'll get to him.
Yeah.
But he misses the leg drop. And
he does miss the leg drop. Yeah, that's right.
He misses the leg drop. Shawn Michaels grabs the megaphone. And JR is so fucking mad during this match. Oh my God. JR's commentary is so good. And Jerry Lawler's like, come on, JR, you got to have some sort of like, unbiasm for this. And then JR goes, absolutely not. Like, oh, Shawn Michaels kicks Vince McMahon's ass. This might be my last broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't care. I'm saying what I feel. And when Shawn Michaels grabs the megaphone, JR goes like, yeah, that's a good idea. Give him a weapon, you bunch of idiots. I'm like, oh my God, JR is so mad.
He does not like the Spirit Squad.
The fuck out of the Spirit Squad with this megaphone. He grabs Kenny and he launches them over the top rope. And that's surprisingly the end of the Spirit Squad. That was enough to take for the rest of the match. Shawn Michaels.
It's odd I'm saying this, but when Shawn was using that megaphone as a weapon, it did make a satisfying sound, didn't it? Like the hollow, like, boom.
Yeah. Like, also, why was there powder in it? Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did. And I've never.
With it, and powder comes out.
I thought that was just how all megaphones work. I thought that was how
cheerleaders. I'm gonna talk to them.
Okay, fair enough.
The guy who played Gaston the last time he did Beauty and the Beast. He was a cheerleader in college.
Fair enough.
Was there ever powder in your megaphones? You can be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Vince introduces the belt that he wore to the ring, and Shawn takes the belt from him. He starts whipping Vince like a government mule. Shawn hits the big elbow drop on Vince, and JR with one of the calls of the night. If he has a heart, I swear to God, it's black. It's
loved it.
Yeah. No, is he wrong? Is he wrong though?
No. No. Shawn Michaels tunes up the band for Sweet Chin Music, but here comes the product of Vince's semen, Shane McMahon with the kendo stick.
We're not to that promo yet.
I know.
God damn it.
But he starts beating Shawn Michaels with the Singapore cane all over the ring. He grabs Shawn Michaels and he's about to indoctrinate him into a very special club. The Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club.
Hold on. If we want to talk about that promo real quick, like Vince, like as we'll talk about, is beaten to smithereens in this match. Like he should have been written off for the rest of the year by this logic. But Vince comes out the next night on Raw, makes the tag match official for Backlash. And yes, Vince in a neck brace, and he has a black eye and all that. He's selling everything. He looks like a lunatic. And then he says, you're going to go up against me, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and the product of my semen, my son, Shane. And Shane Shane again looks at his father, and he's like, what the hell did you just say, Dad? Like,
the product of my semen.
Good Lord.
But he's about to indoctrinate Shawn Michaels into the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club. I think he already did this on an episode of Raw, but here he is doing it again.
Yep.
Love this spot. So he sets up, and JR goes like, look at this. Look at you. You're a 60-year-old man showing your bare ass on live television. And I'm like...
on live pay-per-view.
So
he's not wrong.
Shane goes to shove Michaels into Vince's ass, and Michaels reverses it. He grabs Shane's face, and he just shoves it right up his father's ass. And Vince... the look on his face is priceless. He's just like, oh yeah. It's a crazy image. But, Vince McMahon turns around. He realizes his own son has just went up his ass, and Shawn Michaels hits him with a low blow.
Yep.
And as they say, this is where the fun truly began. Shawn Michaels. So Shane had some handcuffs. He was going to use them, but they decided to do the Kiss My Ass Club instead. Shawn Michaels grabs Shane McMahon, handcuffs him to the ropes, and he beats him with the Singapore cane like it's nobody's business. He oh no, that's later on in the match, but he beats Shane with the cane. That rhymes, Shane with the cane.
Yeah.
And then the beating begins.
Yeah, he handcuffed Shane to the ropes, right? And then he threw away the key into the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where the beating began. He takes a steel chair and he hits a goddamn home run with Vince's head.
Oh, God.
And he puts a dent in that chair. Mm-hmm. And I love the structure of the match. All after this, hits him with the steel chair. He sets up for the super kick, goes for the super kick. Nope, he's not done yet. He gets a trash can. He bashes Vince in the head with the trash can. Sets up for the super kick. No, he's still not done. He grabs a ladder. He hits Vince in the head with the ladder. He sets up the ladder. Also, while he's doing this, he crotch chops Shane, and then he just blows a huge piece of snot in his face. It's so funny.
Foreshadowing much? Foreshadowing much?
So he puts Vince on a table, and he goes up on the ladder. Looks like he's going to do the elbow, but then he changes his mind. He goes out, and he gets a ladder that JR calls, that looks like a ladder that would reach the heavens. It's like a 20-foot ladder, the biggest ladder I've seen in my life. He goes, he puts a beating more on Vince. He puts a trash can over Vince's head, puts him on the table, and delivers probably the damnedest elbow drop from the very top of the ladder, crashing into the black heart of Vince McMahon. The crowd is going absolutely nuts at this point. The EMTs come out. They get a stretcher out. They're about to stretcher Vince out. Shawn Michaels goes ballistic. He starts just, get away from him, I'm not done with him. He's like threatening to hit officials. He gets Vince McMahon up. Vince is covered in blood. He grabs Vince by the straps and he says, I want you to look at me. I'm going to kick your teeth down your throat.
Yep.
Bam! Sweet chin music. Finally with the cover. 1, 2, 3. Shawn Michaels has exercised his demons. Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time. I don't give a shit. This match gets 5 stars. It was so satisfying. And the crowd was eating it up from start to finish. Even when Shawn Michaels isn't having a 5-star wrestling match, he's telling a 5-star story. And that's what this was, a 5-star story.
Oh man, dude. You know what? I'm glad that you love this match, and I'm glad you think it's the match of the night and what have you. No way did I think this was more exciting than Edge and Foley. I think with what I like in my wrestling, like, again, it's all going to be subjective here. I mean, it was, for the most part, it was definitely entertaining, and it was definitely a spectacle. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was a one-sided beatdown for a good chunk of it, though. But again, considering who Shawn is kicking the shit out of, it was so satisfying to watch. Especially now with hindsight.
You have to give Vince credit, because he really booked himself to be the greatest villain in professional wrestling history. He was the guy that you wanted to see go down. He was the guy that you wanted to see get his comeuppance, and he got his comeuppance in this match.
Yeah,
and I feel like Michaels just truly feel like he exercised his demons in this match.
You know what? You're going to be really disheartened when I say this. I'm going to go 3 3/4 stars on this, just because I do feel like, number one, the match went a little bit too long for my liking. This match almost got 20 minutes. Like, this is the second longest match on the show. Like, it did not need to go this long. But again, yes, like, I feel like it accomplished exactly what it needed to. Shawn Michaels has decisively kicked the ever-loving dog shit out of the boss, and the boss has received his beating. He's like a well-deserved beating. And the aftermath as well, when Vince is being carried out on the stretcher, he's throwing up one of these to Shawn in defiance. And
I love it, because Vince is dead. He's just laying lifeless, bloodied, and he's just like, fuck you, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, but
and you know what? When you watch the Saturday Night's Main Event portion of the DVD, or if you watch like Monday Night Raws after this, I noticed like some differences. I noticed some censoring, because in the promo package, Vince says, all you fans do is piss me off, and they censor the word piss.
Yeah.
You look at the aftermath of when they show shots of this match, they blurred out the middle finger.
Yeah, this match
it really showed that on pay-per-view, they were really pushing we can do whatever we want on pay-per-view.
I see. Yeah, this one, to me, like, it does remind me a lot of Vince versus Shane, ironically enough, from 5 years prior to this. I prefer the Shane match over this, just because it had a lot more going for it, I think. It had a lot more cool story beats thrown in. This was, like, centered around one guy who just, like, he's battling his inner demons. Like, if Bret Hart had been involved, if Bret Hart did run interference, I feel like this would have upped my rating for me. Because a lot of this feud was built around the screw job. So, that's my thought. That's just my thought. If you love this match, that is totally fair. That is totally fair.
I don't care, man. I fucking love this match.
Fair enough.
This match. so much as a kid. And again, I know I'm biased. Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler. And I thought he told a 5-star story here. I absolutely love this match.
Fair enough.
You know what? The next match is good too.
Yeah, just didn't get enough time. Up next is the triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship as Kurt Angle, the Wrestling Machine, defends against the Legend Killer Randy Orton and the biggest little man, Rey Mysterio. So, as we talked about at No Way Out, Randy Orton cheated Rey Mysterio out of this title opportunity. Rey Mysterio then comes out on SmackDown and he's cutting a promo to the fans. Out comes Teddy Long and he basically says, listen, I can't remove Randy Orton from the match, playa. He earned the title shot at WrestleMania. Now, I can't remove him, dog, but I damn sure can add to the match. So, basically, he adds Rey Mysterio back. He gives him his WrestleMania title shot anyway, since he won the Royal Rumble, and that should be the case for anybody who wins the Royal Rumble. They get a title shot at WrestleMania. But in the crux of the story, he did it because Randy Orton was being a douchebag. That's why Rey Mysterio was added back into things. So, Kurt Angle goes in there, you know, he has to fight two guys now. And since he's a babyface, he's a wrestling machine, he takes on all comers and he welcomes the competition. So, Rey Mysterio comes out, and he is played to the ring live by POD, who is a band that I loved growing up, and I still do to this very day. They sing the Booyaka 619 song. Ray has the headdress. He's got all the glitz and glamour of a WrestleMania entrance. And I looked at it, and I was like, he's winning the title. He's absolutely winning the title. There's no way he gets that entrance, and he's not winning.
This is also one of those weird wrestling memories that I have because, again, I've watched this entrance so many times, and I love how Rey Mysterio comes out, and then he goes back up, and he goes up to the stage, because POD is performing on one of the skyscrapers, which is really cool.
On top of the building.
Because there was not a lot of space up there.
You know what it reminded me of? You know what it reminded me of was at the end of Spider-Man when Nickelback was playing on top of the building and singing, I need a hero to save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. Yeah.
And Rey Mysterio puts on the Aztec headdress and he goes up there. And it's funny because he just goes up on the stage and he goes, yay! And he leaves.
Yeah, he leaves, and like, it's a fitting entrance. It's a fitting entrance though, because Rey Mysterio is like into WWE Spider-Man too. So it's yeah. Anyway, Kurt Angle also
of the theme song is good.
It is. Yeah, I never said it wasn't.
Theme song going from here on out.
POD's always sang Booyaka 619. I just think the earlier iteration is better. The earlier iteration is just better.
Only did the second version. The sound talents, Dago Dogs, original hitman for hire, made wise guys, untouchable border bandits. We in the streets in the camp. And thank you. The lyrics of the song make a hell of a lot more sense than his last theme song.
Yeah.
Who can remove the mask? Why? Because he's kicking your ass. The girls is black out, the boys is black out with the tap out. When has Rey Mysterio ever pinned anybody? I mean, Rey
Mysterio is not a submission specialist, so yes, that theme song does not make sense.
Definitely not least, sitting on my neck, where's the ref? So you want to lose?
God damn it!
Lose the match. That's what you're saying.
God damn it! So which version of Randy Orton's theme do you prefer then, based on the lyrics? Hey, nothing you can say. Nothing's gonna change what you've done to me. I never stand a chance. Randy Orton always stands a chance. He's Randy Orton. We can go all day with this. The Voices is a better theme song. I agree.
So this match was fast and furious from the start. And I know what you're gonna say. They were only given 9 minutes. They made those 9 minutes count.
Well, they had to, and I'm sure Kurt Angle felt fucking insulted that as the World Heavyweight Champion, and after the year that he had, and after last year putting on one of the matches of the decade with Shawn Michaels, I'm sure when they told him, you're only getting 9 minutes, oh yeah, I don't blame him for leaving. I really do not blame him for leaving.
Before the match even starts, the referee raises the World Heavyweight Championship. Randy Orton grabs the title and he just blasts Kurt Angle in the face with it. And honestly, this is how this match is going to go. It's going to be fast and furious. It's going to be all over the place. Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio are tearing it up in the beginning portion of the match. And we all know what spot we're about to talk about. Rey Mysterio goes for a wheelbarrow bulldog. Orton counters it. Kurt Angle sneaks up from behind, and he German suplexes both of them. And Rey goes fucking flying to the other side of the ring.
Yeah, Kurt Angle threw about a 90-yard touchdown pass as if he was Chicago Bears quarterback that they never had until this year with Caleb Williams. So Kurt is over in Chicago. Like, this crowd, again, you'll notice Bizarro World, this crowd was sort of rejecting Rey Mysterio in a sense, which is odd because he's acting as an Eddie Guerrero surrogate. And Kurt Angle...
That was not fair to Rey. I'm sorry.
No.
It was so unfair to him.
Absolutely not. Yeah, Kurt Angle was so much more over. This crowd, I mean, I can't blame them. I'd want to cheer Kurt Angle too. Kurt was the MVP of this thing. He really was.
And Kurt Angle still was a babyface going into this match. Basically, the premise was Randy Orton wants to win the World Heavyweight Championship and humiliate Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was the ultimate underdog, and he's trying to prove that he can win the World Championship. And Kurt Angle was just like, I'm just trying to keep my title. I don't care who I have to be. I don't care who I have to make tap out. Sorry, Rey, if I ruin your dreams. And Randy Orton, I can give a fuck less about you. It's about keeping my championship.
Angle and Rey like unintentionally team up on Randy Orton because Rey charges at Angle. Angle like thrusts Rey up into Orton and he delivers a Frankensteiner off the top rope, which was a fucking nice spot. You know, just again like 9 minutes, really good wrestling for the whole entire match. Kurt Angle slam gets a near fall. Oh god. Okay, so this spot right here, Angle was like draped over the bottom rope in the corner. Rey Mysterio's running at him, going for a 619 off the post. Poor Rey Mysterio slips off the post, and the crowd is chanting "You fucked up" at him. And I'm like, give him a break. He's a cruiserweight. He's a cruiserweight in the WrestleMania main event. Give him a break here.
And you know what? Every time I see it, I'm like, God damn, that would have been a cool spot if he pulled it off. A 619 around the ring post.
He's pulled it off before. Like, he had done it before.
And also, I also want to point out the really good psychology in this match, too, because what's my psychology about Kurt Angle and his ankle lock? You get the grapevine in, and you're done for. Angle not only grapevines Orton, but he grapevines Mysterio, too. When he has the grapevine on Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio counters with dropping the dimes, which is such a great way to break that up. Kurt Angle then he has it on Rey Mysterio first, and Rey Mysterio taps out.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite parts of this match, actually, because even though, yes, I spoiled it earlier, Kurt Angle does lose the championship. Angle gets not one, but two visible victories over both opponents. Because, yes, to your point, he has the ankle lock on Rey. Orton is distracting the referee and jaw-jacking with him. Rey Mysterio is tapping out, but the referee does not see it. So Kurt Angle, in a fit of rage, as the wrestling machine, goes after Randy Orton, locks the ankle lock on him. I might have flip-flopped it, but you get the idea. He grapevines,
grabs the referee, and he's like, no, don't look.
He's just giving Charles Robinson a hug. He's very appreciative of the work he's doing. So, yeah, he's giving Charles Robinson a hug. Yeah, I'm sorry. We got to finish this. We got to finish this.
And then Rey Mysterio drops the dime on Kurt Angle to break up that pinfall there. So the finish is really good. I'm just surprised that it ended this way because you know what takes Kurt Angle out of the equation? An arm drag. Kurt Angle sends Rey Mysterio to the ropes. He goes for a head scissors and turns it into an arm drag. And that sends Kurt Angle out of the ring. Rey Mysterio hits the 619 on Randy Orton, and this is super impressive because we never saw this move again after this because Rey is just working too big of opponents. He hits the West Coast pop onto Randy Orton.
Yep.
If you see Rey Mysterio nowadays, he does not do the West Coast pop anymore. The opponents are too big, and he's not able to execute it, so he traded it in for either a frog splash or just a springboard splash. But the fact that he did the West Coast pop to Randy Orton is very impressive.
Who is a very tall individual. Like, Rey Mysterio pins Randy Orton. He wins the World Heavyweight Championship. He's got tears in his eyes. And I was just so amazed by this, number one, as a kid. But at the same time, I was so baffled at the fact that the crowd was booing Rey Mysterio during this thing. I was flabbergasted.
He still got a decently sized pop. There was a good portion of the crowd that was very happy for Rey.
He did,
I was shocked. I did not think Rey Mysterio was actually going to win this match, but I was so happy when he did. And the celebration was very warranted. He goes up to the ramp and he is just looking at that world championship. Vicky Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero are there to celebrate with him. But I definitely know what you mean. The crowd was just this was just one of those things like, let Rey have his moment. But I will say, you tell me if this is shoot or work. They cut to Kurt Angle, and he's just going up to the ramp, and he goes, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!"
He was so pissed because, again, while Ray is pinning Randy Orton, Kurt is going in to save it, and he is like inches away from breaking up the 3 count. He was that close. It reminded me a lot of the Vengeance 02 ending, where Taker tried to save Rock from pinning Angle, and Taker was only like an inch short of like retaining the title and saving the match.
I love this match. I love this moment. It's one of those moments that's embedded in my head from my childhood. I loved Rey Mysterio, and I loved Rey Mysterio up to this point, especially in the feud with Eddie. But this moment right here really cemented Rey Mysterio as one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
And I was just so happy for him because you could just see the raw emotion on his face that Rey Mysterio really did. He really paved the way for smaller people to be in this business. There was nobody like Rey Mysterio. Like, he's a little over 5 foot tall. He's not bulging muscles. He's not a big guy, but he showed by just genuinely getting over with the crowd and having that crowd connection that he was able to get to the top. And it's such a cool moment. And I don't understand why anybody would look at this and go, "Oh, this was a pity reign. They just gave him because Eddie died." He's one of the most over baby faces in WWE, probably number 2 babyface on SmackDown. And he was a merch pusher.
He was. Sold a lot of those masks at the concourses. So with that said,
there's a reason why you will never see Rey Mysterio go heel.
No freaking way, man. Like, unless you have a really fucking good idea and a good excuse to turn Rey Mysterio heel, like no. With how over he is and how much he influences, especially the younger audience, fucking shot Ray turns heel.
I remember when I first got into watching people on YouTube talk about wrestling, there was this one channel that I watched, and they were doing Great American Bash 2009 predictions. And one of the people on there said, because it was Jericho Mysterio mask versus title, and this person straight up said, "If they ever make Ray take off his mask, I'm done watching wrestling." That's how important Mysterio is.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. No wonder WCW went out of business, huh? So I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna give the match 3 3/4 stars. It was super fun.
It was a fun sprint. I'm gonna go 3.5. This thing had potential to be a match of the year contender if it had gone 15 to 20 minutes. Like, legitimately. These three are more than capable. I understand that. I'm sure all 3 of them were frustrated that their time was cut a little bit, especially for a world title match at WrestleMania. So, anyway, that's my frustration with it.
That's the biggest issue with this WrestleMania. There was a lot of fat that could have been trimmed to give some of these bigger matches more time.
Yeah, so up next...
If that means you don't defend the World Tag Team titles on WrestleMania, then you don't do it. If that means you don't do this next match, then you don't do it.
What are you talking about? The next match is for the WWE title, right? Yeah, I think so.
Nope. You would think it is because they actually cut to a great segment of JR basically narrating the main event. They cut to John Cena and Triple H respectively getting ready for their matches. John Cena's just in his locker room looking at the WWE title, putting his shoes on. And this was a little uncharacteristic by Triple H, but it really reminded me of his Blue Blood days. Because Triple H, he's really in the zone. He's getting a full body massage. You got 2 people massaging his arms, 1 person massaging his shoulder, 1 person like massaging like his torso. And JR goes, "Oh, Triple H has all the luxuries one can ask for in pro wrestling. He has the top training facilities. He gets manicures. He gets pedicures." And I'm like, that's not Triple H's gimmick.
No.
His gimmick is like he's a cerebral assassin. His gimmick is he will do anything and everything to win a championship. He's not a privilege. He's not a privilege. In the Blue Blood, and I do appreciate the callback to the Blue Blood, but the way JR was wording it, I really did appreciate it because I loved JR's insight on the match. But he goes, "Oh, this match is about hip hop versus old school." And I'm like,
no, it's not.
Right now.
No, it's not. Especially when you consider John Cena grew up going to a private high school where his entire tuition was paid.
What I think what JR was trying to say is this is old school wrestling versus new school wrestling. This is the veteran versus the plucky young champion. I think that's what he was trying to say, but I did really appreciate the commentary of what he was going to the main event. And this got me hyped for the main event. I was so ready, But, you can't have Rey Mysterio win the world title and then goes. Oh, also, there's one more thing I want to say about Rey Mysterio. Him and Kurt Angle have a banger of a rematch on SmackDown.
They do, don't they? Yeah.
So fucking good.
Rey Mysterio's first title defense was against Randy Orton on the following episode of SmackDown. Rey Mysterio beats Randy Orton convincingly, and it should be noted that the reason why Randy Orton was made to look like a chump at this point is because after that episode of SmackDown, Randy Orton was suspended on account of unprofessional conduct. So yeah, Randy Orton's ego at this point in his life is he's getting a little too big for his britches. So
from now until Cyber Sunday, don't expect us to be talking about Randy Orton too much. And when we do, it's not going to be in a good light. He is in the doghouse right now.
Yep, he sure is. He was
getting into all sorts of trouble, and Vince was done. It's like, I have given you so many opportunities, and I see you as a main eventer, but no, fuck you. You're jobbing for the next 6 months.
You're done.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish.
I'm not going to be too sour about this. So up next, we have Tori Wilson versus Candice Michelle in a Playboy pillow fight.
Dud. Next.
Now hold on a minute. I like Tori Wilson. I like Candice Michelle.
Me too.
I will give them credit for at least attempting to have a wrestling match here. There was a snap suplex in there. Candice Michelle sold being back body dropped on a bed. They did exchange some moves, and I appreciate that because they did appreciate the business. They were just booked in some dog shit match that really meant nothing at the end of the day over a Playboy cover. This was also, by the way, the split up of their team. Candice Michelle had turned heel. No, Tori Wilson turned babyface. Candice Michelle turned on her. And this was their big blow off.
Victoria nowhere to be found, by the way. That was a 3-person team. Victoria nowhere to be found.
I also love that Candice Michelle did a springboard splash onto the bed. Like, I'm not going to lie, I was chuckling a little throughout this match. And Tori Wilson wins after she does some sort of move. She also rubs Chloe's ass in Candice's face.
I've said what I said. This was a gigantic commercial for something that I don't really want to be sold on. This match, it's honestly an insult that this match is on here, mainly because, again, well, no disrespect to Tori or Candice at all. They're great. But the thing is, this match comes on after a World Heavyweight title match that should have been given so much more time than it got. And this is what we get instead.
This match went longer than the opener. By about 15 seconds per se, but still.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah.
I also want to bring up that when they do the recap video package at the end of the show, they completely omit this match.
So why even have it on the show if they're not gonna consider it a highlight?
Look, I'm gonna give it a quarter of a star, and that quarter of a star is that they attempted to have something that resembled a wrestling match, and I like both girls. So
I do too. I really do. But this is not. This dud rating is not because of Tori and Candice. This dud rating is for the situation and how the ending of the show is laid out. Like, that world title match. Yeah, go ahead.
Any better? Give Candice Michelle a year, and she's actually going to become a decent wrestler. You actually are going to see her putting in the effort. When she wins the women's championship, and she's defending it on pay-per-views against, like, Beth Phoenix, she actually becomes a decent wrestler.
It's one of the feel-good moments of 2007. So, don't twist our words into something that is just not. Yeah, don't do that.
She has a really cool theme song. Move your body, move your body.
Also has one of the best SmackDown versus Raw 2007 storylines ever, where she turns into character. Yep. Uh-oh, it's magic.
Also, that storyline, it will be a lot more satisfying if you play as Kurt Angle. Because the girl you turn into, her attire is like American themed, so it's like just play as Kurt Angle.
That's right. Yeah,
a Kurt Angle exclusive story.
Fair enough. But okay, up next.
Remember Better Than Utopia?
Let's I do remember that. That's not what this podcast is about, obviously. Let's get serious now, shall we? In your main event of WrestleMania 22 for the WWE Championship, John Cena is defending against Hunter Hearst Helmsley. How do we get here? John Cena won the title at the Royal Rumble, successfully defended it against Edge. He needs an opponent. Raw does not have the Elimination Chamber at this point to determine who goes on and faces John Cena. That doesn't become a thing for another couple years. So Raw decides to host what's known as the Road to WrestleMania tournament. And Triple H wins this tournament convincingly. And he is, he's in the main event here with John Cena. This is the match that I'm sure was, pitched at the time the Royal Rumble was going on. Triple H was even pitched to win the Royal Rumble in 2006. Rey Mysterio obviously got the nod instead. But we're getting the Cena-Hunter match anyway. Now, both of these entrances, this was the first time you really got the glimpse of what WrestleMania entrances would be every single year going forward. Both these guys got special entrances. Triple H is hoisted up from underneath the ramp, and he is sitting in this really intricate throne that has not been smashed yet. It's another 13 years before that happens. But he was
cosplaying as Conan the Barbarian.
Conan the Barbarian, and Motorhead's new track at the time was playing in the background. Bow down to the game. And then
I am so surprised. I was very shocked to hear this. I'm like, what? Triple H changed his theme song? No, this is going to be Triple H's theme song when he cuts promos. This fool gets a separate theme song to cut promos.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a minute.
Correct.
That's how much of a big deal Triple H was. So this was such a cool entrance, like you said. He comes up wearing, a skull crown, and he just looks like he really is the King of Kings. Regular music hits.
I had the action figure of this guy, of this version of Triple H right here from Mania 22. The defining moments from Mattel when I was still getting the action figures, I got that one. It was so dope.
And then I loved the video package. John Cena put a lot of thought into this entrance because his his entrance was based off of Chicago history. How was it during the Great Depression? A group of gangsters came together to basically put out some vigilante justice. And the theme was whether you loved them or hated them, they always had your back. And that was John Cena's moniker at the time. He was very aware that the crowd was turning sour on him.
Where is it?
He was staying true to himself.
Never give up. Rise above hate, hustle, loyalty, respect. Yeah, it's not written on this shirt that I got. Yeah, it should be in every wrestling fan's closet for his farewell tour next year.
So his moniker at the time was, I know everybody out there doesn't love me, but I'm going to fight for the people that do love me.
Yes.
And he was never going to change himself. And then, of course, we want to talk about this. The ramp rises again. Old school 1920s gangster car comes out, and they're flanked by 4 gangsters holding Tommy guns.
One of them, good old CM Punk, Chicago's own. He is out there.
He's not going to amount to anything.
No, he's never going to matter. He's, I wonder if Scott Colton was in there with him. But you have 4 gangsters who are just looking around the ringside area with their Tommy guns, and they're it's like they're, I don't know, it's like they're looking for a bounty, and fools, the bounty's right there in the ring. He's right there.
Do you realize who is wrestling in the main event of WrestleMania? My favorite wrestler, John Cena, versus my brother's favorite wrestler, Triple H.
Yep.
And we were watching this match. I will never forget my brother getting so mad and going what? Cena's bringing help with them? That's not fair. He can't bring backup. And I'm like, relax. They're part of his entrance. They're going to go away when the match starts.
Yep, they are. This is not a lumberjack match. This is not a lumberjack match. Hey,
CM Punk on Triple H.
Hold on, you thought a lumberjack match with zombies was a good idea? Imagine a lumberjack match with actual gangsters and they have firearms.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That would be fucking awesome.
Once the gangsters come out, John Cena's music hits. He's wearing a fedora. He's wearing a trench coat. He opens up the trench coat, and I loved when John Cena would wear the WWE Championship around his waist. That's when you knew he meant business, and he has a Tommy gun of his own. But this Tommy gun actually works, and he fires it into the sky. And it's one of many Cena entrances that is so cool. And like I said, when he wears the championship around his waist, it means something because he rarely did it.
Rarely. It was this show and it was at Money in the Bank 2011 is the only 2 times that I can recall he did that.
Yeah.
He walks out, you get the big match introductions because Lillian Garcia does not introduce them during their entrances, mind you. They wait until they're both in the ring. This is a really, really solid WrestleMania main event. I prefer this one over Triple H and Batista from the previous year. This is a much better match.
They told such a good story. And this was the only time of the night where they really leaned into these fans really don't like John Cena. JR said, do not be surprised if the fans are very pro Triple H. He called them traditional wrestling fans. He said the Chicago fans really appreciate traditional wrestling. They are going to really just appreciate. This is when the fans, they also, not only were they turning sour on Cena, they were starting to appreciate Triple H a little more. Because we know we had the reign of terror. We were sick and tired of Triple H. But remember, Triple H stayed away from the world title for a good 7 months. He did some other stuff. And now that he's back in the title picture, we can appreciate him more as a challenger now. And that's the story that Triple H was telling this match was basically, I'm going to steamroll right through you, Cena. You are a joke as a champion. Give me that title. I want it now. It's like back when he was feuding with Big Show and he ran into Cena backstage and Cena said, you want some, come get some. And Triple H said, don't worry. When I want it, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Here was the time. Here was his opportunity.
Here was his opportunity to take it, and he did not. Of course he didn't. Yeah, the crowd was super passionate the whole way through. This is really where, like, I had started noticing the crowd was booing Cena, like, over the past, like, 6-8 months or whatever it was, like, dating back to SummerSlam. This is, like, if you didn't notice it by this point, like, you're just deaf. Because this crowd was so loud during this match. There were loud chants of "you can't wrestle" at John Cena, which still aggravate me to this very day. This crowd did not know what they were talking about, and they did not appreciate John Cena at this point.
And I understood because Cena as champion, and we're going to get into this a lot in 06 and 07, was just getting a little too comfortable doing his routine and nothing else. But Cena was trying here. He did a belly-to-belly suplex. He did the fisherman suplex. But Triple H really had an answer for everything Cena was doing. Every time they tried to tie up in a lock, Triple H would like put him in a hammerlock and then like slap the back of his head. Yep. Triple H, and I think the commentator said it best when JR said that the fans were going to be very pro Triple H, and Jerry Lawler said, well, here's the thing. Triple H doesn't give a damn what the fans think. He just wants to win the WWE Championship. Yeah. But Triple H was really leaning into that, I'm better than you, Cena. Like, you're the champion and you're the underdog going into this. And the way JR would counteract the "you can't wrestle" chants and Lawler saying like, Cena may not be the best wrestler, but he's a damn fighter. It's like, Cena's not a bad wrestler. He's the WWE champion. Like, don't bury the champion just because the fans don't like him. He's still the top prize in the company. He's the champion. Triple H is the one trying to win the title from him. Cena's not the challenger.
Exactly. Cena, they were building him up as the best in the business at this point. Hunter goes for a pedigree on the outside, and Cena counters with a backdrop, and Hunter lands back first on the ramp, which is nasty. These two, like, again, the drama that was built up throughout this thing was so good. The near falls were, like, the tension was so palpable in the Allstate Arena that night. Like, these fans wanted to see a title change. They were ready to see Hunter take back his throne as the King of Kings. John Cena was vehemently defiant of these fans, and he didn't care what they thought.
Like, one of my favorite spots that really showed how pro Triple H this crowd was. Cena, he does his usual shtick. He goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle. When he goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle, Triple H just counters with one of the most beautiful spine busters I've ever seen. And the crowd popped big for that. And they also brought up a good point that would be a theme in Cena's career. Jerry Lawler says, look at this crowd. It does not matter if they're cheering Cena or if they're booing Cena, they're into this. And that's all that matters. That's been one of Cena's philosophies going later on in his career. It's like, the fans will boo me, but I would rather them boo me than them sit on their hands or them be on their phones or them go to the bathroom or get a snack.
Yeah, exactly. So Hunter, like, this crowd, like, to your point, very much into it. Countering out of the STFU, John Cena also goes for the attitude adjustment. Hunter slips out of it and takes both Cena and referee Mike Chioda to Dick Kick City. So,
my God, that low blow. Yeah, he backs Cena into the corner. and it's a perfect camera shot. Look at Triple H's fist. It goes right into Mike Chioda's crotch.
Yes.
And Chioda's reaction.
Disgusting.
Poor man. Poor man. Chioda puts his hands on his head and he is just screaming because he got punched right in the balls. That is one of the most realistic low blows because he actually got him. Like, you know, low blow is a low blow, but goddamn, that's like the worst low blow I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike Chioda, that's not just selling. He actually took it right there. So
he took it.
Hunter then sees the opportunity here, gives Cena a DX chop as well, which is good foreshadowing. You slowly start to see the transition of Hunter into a babyface role. But still, he's the cerebral-ass asshole, and he goes down and he grabs his trusty sledgehammer, smacks Cena right in the face with it, and Mike Chioda, while holding his nuts, goes and counts 1, 2, Cena kicks out. And again, the drama in this thing, amazing. So, yeah, Pedigree countered into a...
also kicks out of the Attitude Adjustment.
He does. He does.
That happened after this?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and JR was selling it. I don't remember anybody ever kicking out of the Attitude Adjustment. JR, where have you been? You haven't really called any of Cena's matches.
Yeah. You were too busy nurturing your balls.
Yeah.
Ball surgery.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, don't bring up Dr. Heine right now. No, we're not doing that.
Triple H then goes for the pedigree. Cena counters it into the STFU. And this is, again, it's a defining shot of my childhood because Cena puts in the STFU. He also, while he has the STFU, grabs Triple H's right wrist and he pulls it in so he can't make it to the ropes. And every time Triple H goes to the ropes, Cena just cinches it in even more. And I love this shot because if Triple H really wanted to, he could have grabbed the bottom rope.
He could have.
Great shot. Triple H is stretching. He's stretching. He's about to stretch, and he taps out.
Yep. Third straight WrestleMania main event for Triple H, and third straight Mania main event loss for Triple H, putting over John Cena big time. The crowd does not like John Cena, but he's like, you can't see me. I mean, what's there not to like? Triple H was just wrestling an invisible person, and he put on a damn good match.
Just to add more proof that this card was bloated, less than 30 seconds after this match is over, they're done. They cut away.
They cut away. Cena's celebration.
Cena retained the WWE Championship. Thank you for joining us at WrestleMania, and it's over. And I'm like, wow, you guys really bloated this card. This did not need to be an 11-match card.
No.
But this was such a good match. They told such a good story. And even though Cena still has a lot of work to do as a wrestler and as a performer, he went in there with one of the best in history, and he hung with him.
4 stars. 4 stars. Excellent main event, I thought. These guys got, how long did they get? This is a Hunter match, so he at least had to, 21 minutes.
They got 22 minutes.
22? Oh, shit! 22!
But look at it. WrestleMania 22, and the main event was 22 minutes long.
22?
You know what? WrestleMania, when we go to WrestleMania, that main event better be 41 minutes long.
It better be.
Yeah.
Well, night one's main event this year was about 40 minutes long. WrestleMania 40. So
I feel really bad for anyone who goes to WrestleMania 70.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be an hour-long Iron Man match with a 10-minute overtime, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway.
WrestleMania 100 is going to suck.
Yeah. Well, we won't be around for that one, so... With that said, this main event is awesome. The drama was there. Great psychology. Not really a whole lot to complain about. Mania 22, bunch of good matches on this card, but a couple of matches that did not deserve the WrestleMania treatment. This didn't need to be an 11-match card. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a very strong show. Don't like it as much as 21, but it's still a lot of fun to look back on it.
I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 as well. This was so much fun. And like I said, just a trip down memory lane in my childhood. This WrestleMania was my life until I realized, you can buy other wrestling DVDs too, right?
Yep. And that you did, I'm sure. That you did.
Yeah, and but we all have that wrestling pay-per-view. Just like that movie as a child, we would watch over and over and over again. Y'all kids are spoiled nowadays. All you have to do with one click of a button. You got Peacock, you got Disney Plus, you have so much streaming to watch so many movies. We only watched what we owned. And, Zach looks at his collection right there. And if there's ever a cyber apocalypse, he's good. He's covered.
I'm good. I'm good. If Y2K comes 25 years later, I don't have a damn thing to worry about with this. So, guys,
he's still going to be he catch Zach in a Target, just like, I got to get all these movies now.
Damn right. Yeah. So, folks, hit that subscribe button if you're new. If you've stumbled across the ZNT Wrestling Show for the first time, welcome. Hit that thumbs up as well. Tomas and I are on a never-ending journey through the Ruthless Aggression era and beyond. We got AEW All In this weekend, which I absolutely forgot about until I thought about it. I was like, okay. Yeah, AEW's biggest show of the year, and title versus career match for Bryan Danielson, one of my favorites, and I'm like,
that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But next up on the retrospective is Backlash. And let me tell you, this is quite the heavenly card.
Oh my God. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for that one. But yeah, folks, thank you again so much. Hit that subscribe button. Commence that back talk. Let us know what you thought of WrestleMania 22. Take care, guys.